Chapter 1488. It was the last dish. This roasted suckling pig contained 10 times more medicinal energy than the previous 17 dishes. Qin Chaoran had never seen anyone who could eat this dish. Even if Li Fan could withstand the previous 17 dishes, he would definitely be finished after eating this last dish. Eat. I'll let you eat. I'll let you know the power of a chef. Qin Chaoran widened his eyes with an ominous glint as he watched Li Fan start to enjoy the roasted suckling pig. A plate of roasted suckling pig was actually not a lot. The waiter at the side helped Li Fan to continuously bring him slices of meat and then let him eat it with the unique sauce. Li Fan felt that it was not enough. He even grabbed a bunch of green onions and ate them together. Seeing Li Fan eating heartily, Qin Chaoran's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. What happened? Nothing happened to him. Could it be that he did not use enough ingredients today? Impossible. In order to make Li Fan fall, he even used more ingredients. Are you alright? Seeing Li Fan eat the last bit of golden crispy pork, Qin Chaoran hurriedly asked. No. Just as Li Fan finished speaking, the veins on his forehead popped out. His temples swelled up as if they were going to explode at any time. His expression was somewhat painful as he subconsciously clenched his fists and heavily smashed the table in front of him. With a bang, the table was directly smashed into pieces. Ha ha ha. Qin Chaoran became excited as he laughed at Li Fan. You can't take it, right? So what if you're the little tyrant? You're also finished, right? 18 dishes, how can you withstand it? Your body will break and you will die soon. The extra inner force will tear your meridians apart, and then your body. Phew, Li Fan suddenly breathed out a mouthful of hot air and then opened his eyes again. Damn, your roasted suckling pig is quite strong. Li Fan stood up and stretched his muscles and bones, as if he had been reborn. I'm full. I should go upstairs now. Thank you for your hospitality. Li Fan walked upstairs as if nothing had happened. Qin Chaoran stood there in a daze, unable to recover for a long time. My 18 dishes actually failed. He watched as Li Fan got into the elevator. After a long time, he finally knelt on the ground and smiled bitterly. Failure, I'm such a failure. Qin Chaoran picked up a knife used to cut meat and held it in his hand. If that's the case, what face do I have to live in this world? He used the knife to stab himself in the temple, committing suicide right there and then. The dignity of the first protector and the power of the medicinal cuisine had become his humiliation today. Qin Chaoran used his death to wash away his shame. At this moment, Li Fan walked into the elevator and clenched his fists. In his body, a powerful inner force was still surging, and he was slowly absorbing it with the Taiji diagram. The elevator went up for an unknown period of time. Li Fan's expression finally looked better. Damn it, this power is quite difficult to digest. Fortunately, his dantian no longer existed, and he used a Taiji diagram to absorb and release his vitality. His upper limit no longer existed, and his potential was limitless. Naturally, he was not afraid of his dantian exploding. Although Qin Chaoran's 18 dishes made his inner force explode, it was still neutralized by Li Fan's Taiji diagram. Phew. This dish is delicious, but it's really killing me. Li Fan believed that other than himself, no one else would be able to withstand this dish. Or the people from the sky beyond heaven, they should be able to withstand it. After all, they shouldn't have a dantian. This was something that only humans could have. Li Fan took the elevator all the way to the upper floor. This time, the elevator went straight to the 80th floor. When the elevator door opened, there were corpses in front of him. These corpses were all the Martial Emperor's thugs. Li Fan had seen them before. In the underground palace, they were patrolling for the martial emperor as soldiers. It seemed that Jiang Feng alone had challenged all the way to the top. All the people who died had a bloody hole pierced through their throats. Li Fan judged that it should be caused by the Azura sword qi. This Jiang Feng is really merciless. Jiang Feng cut the weeds and pulled out the roots, not leaving any way out for these people. But they had followed the martial emperor to the death, so they died in vain. Li Fan followed the corpses and continued to look for Jiang Feng. The location of the corpses was easy to determine. Jiang Feng seemed to have killed all the way up. Li Fan made his way up and arrived at the 90th floor. There, he saw at least 100 martial monarchs. The martial monarchs' people have basically all been killed. Li Fan couldn't help but mutter. The door to the 90th floor was pushed open, and Jiang Feng was standing in the middle of the hole. His hand had already pierced Tai Bai Jingxing's throat, and he was lifted into the air. A man in a silver robe was lying on the side, panting, and his face was covered in blood. It seemed like he was also heavily injured. "Third brother, you're late." With a twist of his hand, Jiang Feng broke Tai Bai Jingxing's neck. Only this Tai Bai Jingxing is left, struggling at death's door. "Don't kill me." Tai Bai Jingxing did not want to die, and he suddenly begged, "I know where Liao Qianqian is." "Humph, trying to deceive us." Jiang Feng pointed a finger, and an Azura sword qi immediately shot towards Tai Bai Jingxing's Achilles heel. But at this time, the Azura sword qi suddenly twisted in the air, and then shot to the side, piercing through the wall. "Third brother, what are you trying to do?" Jiang Feng looked at Li Fan, who was using the black dragon drinking water, and frowned. "I'm sorry, this person is useful to me, I can't let you kill him for now. He's just trying to confuse us, don't fall into his trap." Jiang Feng shouted. "We'll know after we ask him." With Liao Qianqian's information, Li Fan would not let Tai Bai Jingxing die. "I'm not lying, I really know where Liao Qianqian is." Tai Bai Jingxing quickly shouted, "As long as you don't kill me, I'll bring you there." "Still babbling nonsense. Go to hell." Jiang Feng raised his hand, and 5 Azura sword qi shot out. "Humph." Li Fan was unhappy, and the long sword in his hand continued to move, breaking the 5 Azura sword qi. "Li Fan, what are you trying to do?" "I'd like to ask, what are you trying to do?" Li Fan looked at Jiang Feng suspiciously. "You should know that my main purpose of coming here is to find Liao Wushuang." "What's the meaning of this?" "I'm doing this for your own good, he's definitely trying to trick you." Jiang Feng reminded Li Fan, "This person is a martial emperor's man, do you believe his words?" "Who knows, this might be a trap they've arranged, waiting for you to jump into it." "For Liao Wushuang, even if there's a trap, I can jump into it." Chapter 1489. Without rescuing Liao Wushuang, Li Fan would not leave here. However, it was a bit difficult to find the whereabouts of a person in such a big place. Tai Bai Yinqing said that he knew the whereabouts of Liao Wushuang, which undoubtedly hit Li Fan's weak spot. "You're really... Ah do." Jiang Feng seemed a little annoyed. "If you had half of my wisdom, I'm afraid the underworld would have been unified by you." "I'm sorry, I'm not interested in unifying the underworld." Li Fan curled his lips. "In that case, I'll go with you." Jiang Feng saw that he couldn't persuade Li Fan, so he decided to follow Li Fan. In this emperor building, almost everyone had been killed. Liao Ju should be the only one left. The strength of a martial emperor was not to be trifled with. Jiang Feng decided to be careful. Li Fan was also a cautious person. Facing the so-called strongest martial emperor in the world, he still dragged him to challenge him. So what if he was the strongest in the world? He was a martial sage expert. With the help of Dragon God number 1, how could he not deal with a martial emperor? Why did you suddenly change your mind? Li Fan looked at Jiang Feng in confusion. What was this guy thinking? It's very simple. I can't persuade you, so I can only stay with you. Jiang Feng said his reason, only you and I are companions here. Even if we have conflicts, it's outside. Our common enemy is a martial emperor. I don't need to make things difficult for you. His reason made Li Fan unable to refute. Okay, then come with me. Li Fan agreed. He urged Tai Bai Yinxing. This poor guy could only lead the 2 top experts to a special room. Has Liao Qianqian been locked up here? Li Fan asked while walking. Yes, hero. Tai Bai Yinxing answered honestly, since Tai Bai Jinxing brought her out of your villa, she has been under house arrest. Because of her identity as a princess, no one dared to make things difficult for her. But in recent days, His Majesty seemed to have given up on her. Why would his daughter be abandoned? Li Fan couldn't figure it out. Because Liao Qianqian followed the mission to seduce you and make you willingly become His Majesty's vessel. But she failed and refused to work for His Majesty. She's forsaking darkness for light. Hearing that Liao Wushuang was safe and loyal, Li Fan was very happy. His Majesty's grand plans and lofty aspirations will not be destroyed by the princess. Tai Bai Yinxing said as he walked, so His Majesty locked the princess up. If the princess still doesn't agree to assist His Majesty, I'm afraid that His Majesty will punish her in the name of justice. What a heartless emperor. Li Fan couldn't help but sigh. Those who do great things don't bother with trifles. Jiang Feng didn't think much of it. When Liu Bang, the ancestor of the Han dynasty, was fleeing for his life, he kicked his children off the carriage twice to reduce the weight. I can't understand such a method. Li Fan was very disdainful. If I can't even protect my own family, how can I be an emperor? That's why your weakness is too obvious. Jiang Feng somewhat looked down on Li Fan on this point. Don't you have a weakness? Li Fan glanced at Jiang Feng. Can our Lord Jiang put family before righteousness? Jiang Feng understood the meaning behind Li Fan's words and didn't say anything. The deeper they went, the more Li Fan could feel Liao Wushuang's existence. Liao Wushuang was planted by him before, so once he got within a certain distance, he could feel her breath. The princess is locked up here. Tai Bai Yinxing stopped in front of a room, pointed inside, and then opened the door. The door was locked with a row of iron railings. Not only the door, but even the entire wall of the room had such a row of iron railings, as if afraid that the person inside would escape. Liao Wushuang sat in the corner, hugging her legs, her eyes listless. Teacher Liao, I'm here to pick you up. Li Fan's voice came to Liao Wushuang's ears, finally making this girl's eyes lit up. Li Fan. Liao Wushuang looked up, almost crawling in front of Li Fan, stretched out her hands from the railings, and excitedly grabbed Li Fan's hands. You're finally here. Am I dreaming? No, I'm really here. Li Fan's hand gently stroked Liao Wushuang's cheek. Looking at Liao Wushuang's haggard appearance, he felt very distressed. Teacher Liao, you've lost weight. As long as you don't despise me. Liao Wushuang's eyes were filled with tears. The moment she saw Li Fan, she was already very satisfied. In Li Fan's eyes, all the grievances and sadness seemed to have been dissolved. Liao Wushuang originally had a lot of words to say to Li Fan, but she suddenly remembered something. She suddenly pulled Li Fan's hand and hurriedly asked, Li Fan, did Martial Emperor see you? Not yet. Li Fan smiled, I'll meet father-in-law later. Listen to me, don't meet him. Liao Wushuang did not hesitate to remind Li Fan, this person is too scary. You'll die. You should have some confidence in me. Li Fan said, stretched out his hands and grabbed the iron railings. He used his strength, but the iron railings did not move. "Ha, Villa Masterly, even if you're powerful, it's impossible to move this iron railings." Silver Star ridiculed from the side, "This is not something a human can open. Only the key can open this cage. And the key is with His Majesty. You must defeat His Majesty to release the princess." "I don't think that's necessary." As Li Fan said, he mobilized all the internal energy in his body. At the same time, a malevolent divine dragon appeared behind him, twisting its body in the air. Li Fan's figure also expanded a lot. Under the alien bone-changing ability, his entire body became bigger, and both of his arms actually grew dragon scales, turning them into dragon claws. Jiang Feng watched from the side, feeling very strange in his heart. How did Li Fan's arms turn into the shape of a dragon? Could it be that this is also the effect of cultivating the true immortal art? That's right, the true immortal art is to become an immortal, and a dragon is also an immortal. Naturally there will be some changes, right? With this kind of power, I can definitely purify the Azura Chi in my body. Li Fan used the dragon's arms and actually broke the iron railings. Silver Star Taibai, who was standing by the side, was completely dumbfounded. What situation is this? This is iron, even if it's smashed by a hammer, it should be safe and sound, but now it's actually bent by someone's hands. This Li Fan is a bit powerful. Looks like he will be trouble for His Majesty. Princess, don't forget your bloodline. After saying that, Silver Star's eyes suddenly turned red. Chapter 1490. Seeing Li Fan's powerful strength, Taibai Yinqing suddenly realized that something is wrong. If this person challenges His Majesty, he will definitely bring trouble to His Majesty. Thinking of this, Taibai Yinqing's heart is uneasy. He originally wanted to lure Li Fan here and then use the princess to threaten him. But unexpectedly, Li Fan did not play according to the plan and even opened the cage. For Martial Emperor. Taibai Yinqing's eyes are red, the yang energy in his body is constantly flowing, and his dantian swells several times. Damn it! Li Fan frowns and suddenly hugs Liao Wushuang in his arms, and then his body emits a golden brilliance, wrapping the two of them together. Indestructible golden body. Li Fan and Liao Wushuang seem to be plated with golden light, standing there like two golden Buddha statues. And in the next second, Taibai Yinqing's body suddenly swells several times, like a balloon being blown up, then suddenly inflates and explodes. Blood and bones, under the impact of internal force, are even more terrifying than the most powerful explosives, crazily rushing into the room. The explosion only lasted for a moment, but in that moment, everything in the area was gone. The surrounding walls are all broken, only the iron railings are still standing there. While Li Fan and Liao Wushuang stand in the ruins, the golden light on their body is still shining brightly. Looking at Jiang Feng next to them, he is somewhat different. This commander of the royal army, at this moment, the flesh and blood on his body is blown up, leaving only a broken body standing there. Bones can be seen in many places on his body. But in a moment, Jiang Feng's flesh and blood begin to grow again, and traces of black gas come out from his body, constantly revolving around his body. A huge black devil is hovering in the air, causing people to feel fear. Soon, Jiang Feng returns to his previous appearance, except for the clothes on his body. So rude. Jiang Feng stands there naked and says in a rather bad mood, "Don't you know how expensive my clothes are? Why are you like that, Yu Qigong, so long-winded?" Li Fan dispels the golden light on his body, takes off his coat and throws it to Jiang Feng. "Thanks for the clothes, but you don't have to take off your underwear." Jiang Feng put on his shirt, but his legs were still bare. "It would be better if I had a pair of pants." "Teacher Liao, can I borrow your jacket?" Li Fan rolled his eyes, but he also had a way. He borrowed Liao Wushuang's denim and threw it to Jiang Feng. You can wear it as a dress first. Alright, after all, Jiang Feng didn't want his lower body to be too cold. He wrapped the denim around his waist to block some of the cool vital parts. By the way, why don't you just transform into an Azura tiger? Won't that cover up your embarrassment? Fuck, even if I become an Azura tiger, I won't lose my pants, okay? Jiang Feng reminded Li Fan. Although his shirt would be torn apart when he transformed into the Azura tiger, his pants would still be intact. In order to ensure that his clothes would not be damaged every time he transformed, Jiang Feng's clothes were specially made. When his body expanded, the fabric of his clothes would also stretch. Usually, it would be a long-sleeved jacket, but after he transformed into the Azura tiger, it could be used as a short-sleeved vest, and his clothes and pants would not be damaged. However, even the sturdiest clothes, after a round of baptism, would be ruined. Jiang Feng's flesh and blood could be regenerated, but his clothes could not. Teacher Liao, you wait for us here, I should go up to see my father-in-law. Li Fan said, a handsome son-in-law will always have to see his father-in-law. Bah. We just met and you're already so naughty, what a naughty student. Teacher Liao was deeply helpless. I'm advising you with good intentions, but you still don't believe me. Of course I believe you, so you have to believe me. Li Fan gently put his hands on Liao Wushuang's shoulder. I won't let you down. I'll help you get rid of your long-time nightmare. I believe you. With Li Fan by her side, Liao Wushuang's serious sense of horror was slightly reduced. Jiang Feng, on the side, shook his head, seemingly not optimistic about Liao Wushuang. A person's sense of horror, which has lasted for so many years, is deeply rooted. When he just opened the door, Jiang Feng clearly saw that this woman's eyes had lost its vitality. She had long been in despair. It's just that seeing Li Fan, seeing her former lover, made her feel like she was dying. When she saw Martial Emperor again, perhaps all the accumulated emotions would once again burst out. Let's go, Martial Emperor is at the top, on the 100th floor. Li Fan stretched out his hand, pulled his future wife, and took the last elevator to the 100th floor. The higher the number above the elevator, Li Fan could feel that Liao Wushuang's hand was getting colder and colder, and her trembling was getting more and more severe. Don't be afraid, I'm here. Li Fan tightly held Liao Wushuang's hand and passed his strength to her. Liao Wushuang could only lean in Li Fan's arms, but her face was getting paler and paler. With a ding sound, the elevator door slowly opened, and a man in a golden suit, about 40 years old, with a domineering aura, was sitting in the boss's chair, smoking a cigar while stroking the lion lying in front of him, looking at the scenery outside the window. Seeing this man, Liao Wushuang, who had just walked out, suddenly froze. She stood there in a daze, as if she was frozen. Li Fan and Jiang Feng's expressions didn't change. Li Fan held Liao Wushuang's hand, while Jiang Feng crossed his arms and looked at Martial Emperor opposite. My daughter finally came to see me. Martial Emperor's plain words made Liao Wushuang's eyes filled with deep despair. She was a little angry at first, but now she was completely frozen like a dead person. Li Fan reached out and touched her body, but there was no temperature at all, as if her heart had stopped beating. What a loser. Martial Emperor didn't even look at her, and just laughed disdainfully. Trash is trash, your life is a disgrace to my reputation, you might as well die. Liao Wushuang's eyes were lifeless. She pulled a sword from the wall next to her and placed it on her neck. You're right. What's the point of living? Liao Wushuang was about to cut her throat with the sword, but Li Fan suddenly reached out and grabbed the sword. Moreover, Li Fan didn't use his internal force to protect his hand, so he let the sword cut his palm, causing blood to flow out. Seeing the red blood, Liao Wushuang seemed to be startled. Wushuang, don't care what others say, you will always be my Wushuang. In my heart, you are unparalleled in the world. Li Fan's voice sounded in Liao Wushuang's ears. It's useless, she is trash, whatever you say is useless. Martial Emperor sneered, giving birth to her is the biggest mistake in my life. Chapter 1491. Liao Wushuang seems to be on the verge of collapse, her eyes are even filled with a trace of death aura. But Li Fan turns his head, glares at Martial Emperor and says without any trace of politeness. Shut your mother's fart. Wushuang is my treasure, if you dare to humiliate her again, I will take your life. You have very high expectations of her. Martial Emperor finally turns around and looks at Li Fan very seriously, then tell me, what is so outstanding about her that makes you look forward to her so much? It is just the illusory love that has trapped you. Wushuang's good points. Li Fan smiles, Wushuang is gentle, considerate, and always appears by my side when I need her the most. She is tenacious and does not admit defeat. Even if she cannot do something, she will do her best to do it, and never let me worry about her. Moreover, Wushuang is good at diplomatic work, her affinity is widely recognized. With her diplomatic work in the Seven Knights Villa, the villa's business has always been green light. No matter when, even if I encounter the most difficult thing, I will feel at ease when I think of Wushuang supporting me. This is my teacher Liao, she not only taught me knowledge, but also comforted my heart. As for you, Liao Ju, did you not find her good points? Sorry, I can only say that you are a blind cunt. Hearing Li Fan's words, Liao Wushuang's eyes actually slowly regained some spirit. Wushuang, I have said before, today I will liberate you from this nightmare. Liao Ju. Martial Emperor. In my opinion, you are the one who is useless bullshit. Clap clap clap. Liao Ju is not angry, instead, he claps his hands. Well said, this is really wonderful. Liao Ju looks at Li Fan with appreciation, you are really not bad, very much like me when I was young. I can give you another chance, if you are willing to be my vessel, I can at least guarantee you a lifetime of glory and wealth. Bullshit, I am already dead, what kind of bullshit glory and wealth can I guarantee? You won't die even if you exchange your head. Liao Ju explains, it is just that you need to use my current body to live. Although this body does not fit, it has a very long lifespan. My ambition is to conquer the world. When the time comes, I will take over the entire world and leave Huaxia to you to manage. I will be the emperor of the world, and you can be the king of China. Of course, you can take Liao Wushuang away. I can bestow her to you and make her your woman. Liao Ju's words caused Jiang Feng to raise his guard. Holy shit, this gift is not cheap at all. Even he was a little tempted after hearing it. However, if it was Li Fan, with his temper, he would probably be angry, right? As expected, Li Fan's gaze became even colder. He held Liao Wushuang's hand and stretched out 3 fingers of his other hand. I, the little tyrant, have never been a lackey. Second, you want to conquer Huaxia. Dream on. Third, Wushuang is my woman. Whether she marries me or not, it's not up to you. Idiot. Liao Ju sighed, I gave you one last chance, but you didn't cherish it. I also gave you one last chance, but you were too stupid. Li Fan lightly patted Liao Wushuang's hand, wait for me, I will be back soon. With that, Li Fan slowly walked towards Martial Emperor. Liao Ju, I want to see what makes you call yourself Martial Emperor. Li Fan took 2 steps forward, but Martial Emperor suddenly pushed with his hand. With a distance of 7 to 8 meters, Li Fan's body suddenly slid backwards and was blocked by Jiang Feng's hand. Small phaseless technique. Li Fan and Jiang Feng frowned at the same time. No, I am practicing the big phaseless technique. Liao Ju said in disdain, those trash only practice a little bit of my martial arts. Do you think they are very strong? There is a surprise. Li Fan readjusted his body. He filled his body with elemental energy, spreading it to every corner of his body and flowing into all of his meridians. At the same time, he stretched out his hand. A large amount of elemental energy gathered around him and formed a sword. Elemental energy. Liao Ju nodded in satisfaction. In the past, there was a good martial artist who successfully cultivated elemental energy. It's just that he was too stupid to actually want to be my enemy. There is no one in the world who can be my enemy, including you. He is not the only one, friend. Jiang Feng knew that it was time for him to make a move. His body was wrapped in a layer of black qi and slowly evolved into the appearance of an Azura tiger. Oh, Azura path. Liao Ju once again recognized this martial art. Very good. Interesting. The two of you really gave me a lot of surprises. It is really interesting. I have never looked forward to it as much as I did today. I am also looking forward to it. Jiang Feng smiled. I hope that your cultivation technique can be more powerful. This way, when I absorb it, I will have a greater sense of accomplishment. You want to learn my martial arts? Liao Ju was not surprised at all. Sure, as long as you are willing to work for me, I can teach you some martial arts. No. Jiang Feng shook his finger. What I want is not some martial arts. What I want is everything you have. The Azura path has a special technique that can absorb the memories of the dead. Liao Ju suddenly exposed Jiang Feng's secret. Along the way, you have already taken a lot of martial arts from my subordinates, right? Even Li Fan did not know about this. He looked at Jiang Feng and thought to himself, you really hid it well. I only have this little secret, but you actually found it out. Jiang Feng said as he stretched out his hand. The surrounding wall suddenly loosened and the stone bricks on it began to tremble. Following that, a lot of stone bricks flew out and surrounded Jiang Feng. This small phaseless technique is also not bad, but I feel that the 5 Emperor scripture is also very interesting. Unfortunately, your subordinates did not learn the complete inner force. They only learned the first 3 levels. The last 2 levels should still be in your grasp, right? That's right. Liao Ju nodded. This 5 Emperor scripture has a total of 5 levels. Every time you train a level, your strength will double. They only train to the 3rd level, but I trained to the 4th level, reaching the realm of the White Emperor. I can tell you that with 1 more level, I will be able to reach the highest realm of the Black Emperor. Therefore, I need your body, Li Fan. Liao Ju's gaze once again fell on Li Fan. I have to say, you are an excellent vessel. Young master is called Li Fan. As Li Fan spoke, he suddenly appeared beside the martial emperor and stabbed his sword towards his throat. But Liao Ju only stretched out his hand and activated the large phaseless technique. The powerful inner force once again pushed Li Fan's body forward. But Jiang Feng's figure appeared behind the martial emperor and his 2 claws grabbed towards Liao Ju's neck. Liao Ju slapped the ground with his palm and a huge force rushed out, sending Jiang Feng flying. Chapter 1492. The strength of a martial emperor had been displayed. No matter how hard Li Fan and Jiang Feng tried, they couldn't even get half a meter away from him. Both of them were top-notch experts, but in front of a martial emperor, they seemed to be a notch weaker. The 2 of you, we can continue to play. Liao Ju's great non-phase technique was almost unbreakable. While dismantling the 2's attacks, he put his feet on the lion's body and said with a smile, anyway, I have plenty of time. I can play until you're satisfied. Li Fan, it's already come to this, don't hide it anymore. Jiang Feng said to Li Fan while attacking Liao Ju. Alright, then don't hide it anymore. Bring out your full strength. Li Fan said to Jiang Feng. Sure, let's have a gentleman's agreement. Jiang Feng said, as long as you abide by this gentleman's agreement, I can stretch my muscles and fight with all my strength. What gentleman's agreement? Li Fan was a little interested. What was Jiang Feng planning at this critical moment? Although Li Fan hated martial emperors, he wasn't a fool. He wouldn't use all his strength right from the start. He needed to observe how deep this martial emperor's strength was. If you want to fight, use all your strength and don't hold anything back. Jiang Feng stated his request. Just this. Yes, just this. Jiang Feng nodded, I have no other request. I just want to see how strong you are. Moreover, I don't want to be the only one to use all my trump cards. Alright. Li Fan agreed, if we want to win this guy, we can't not use all our strength. However, you have to promise me one thing. Beat this guy up. As Li Fan spoke, he opened his arms and his hands suddenly began to change. In the blink of an eye, they turned into a pair of dragon claws. Dragon tattoos also appeared on his back. Good, good, good. It's coming. Jiang Feng roared. The black azure chi continued to strengthen, wrapping around his body layer by layer. A pair of black wings actually spread out from his back. Li Fan was a little surprised. Making power tangible was something he had known for a long time. Unexpectedly, Jiang Feng also did it. Jiang Feng's strength continued to rise. From one pair of wings, a second pair grew, and then a third pair. 3 pairs of wings, the symbol of a saint. The martial emperor nodded in satisfaction, the other one has dragonized arms, and his strength has increased by quite a bit. Very good, I thought there was no more fun. I didn't expect you to add some more for me. There's something even more interesting. Jiang Feng uttered a roar at the martial dominator. A black ball of light shot out from his mouth. It looked a little like Lu Xiaohu's roaring tiger technique. The black ball instantly struck in front of the martial monarch and was sent flying by the martial monarch's palm. The black ball hit the wall next to him and pierced through it. The black ball continued to break through the wall behind it. In the blink of an eye, it had penetrated more than 10 layers of walls and flew outside. Interesting. Liao Ju could not help but praise, your strength is already very strong, but it is still not enough to break through this emperor's protective technique. Is that so? Li Fan had already appeared beside Liao Ju. At the same time, he used the black dragon ice palms overturning the heavens and stirring the seas and directly slapped Liao Ju's head. Liao Ju was not surprised. He only raised his hand and used the 5 emperors' divine palms, white emperor supporting the sky, to meet Li Fan's palm. Bang! Li Fan's body was sent flying, and Liao Ju's chair also sank 2 to 3 centimeters deep into the ground. Li Fan hung upside down on the ceiling. His feet produced a strong internal force and sucked the ceiling. Li Fan was not in a hurry to make a move. He just hung there and quietly looked at Liao Ju. The power that Liao Ju displayed just now was about the same as his. But the way he displayed his power was very unique. His palm strike was even more powerful than his. With many years of battle experience, the power that the martial monarch displayed seemed to be purer. Although Li Fan was called the Little Tyrant, but at this moment, he could feel that the martial monarch's body was the real domineering aura. This kind of domineering aura was innate to the martial monarch. He was different from him, this fellow only had himself in his heart. Thus, he could be incomparably domineering. Even the people closest to him, he could not care less, and even treat them as his stepping stones. This was his domineering aura, a domineering aura that he had obtained with countless lives and blood. In front of me, all of you are incomparably insignificant. The martial monarch said to them, either surrender or die. I will only give you one last chance to choose. I choose to kill you. Jiang Feng pounced in front of the martial monarch and continuously used the Azura evil tiger palm. Every palm strike was aimed at the martial monarch's vital points. However, the martial monarch did not care. He seemed to have seen through all of Jiang Feng's attack patterns and easily disintegrated Jiang Feng's attack. You are all too inexperienced. I can deal with you with one hand. With that, the martial monarch put one hand behind his back and stretched out the other hand, waving at the two of them. Li Fan and Jiang Feng looked at each other, and the two of them leaped forward at the same time, attacking the martial monarch together. However, the martial monarch seemed to have seen through their moves. No matter how the two of them attacked, he was able to counter their moves and block them. There is no martial art in this world that I do not know. Even if you create your own martial arts, you will still be unable to separate yourself from those few methods. The martial monarch said as he defended, all the martial arts in the world lead to the same destination. The two of you can't beat me. Profound Dragon Ice Palm, 10,000 miles of Ice Seal, 130% power. Li Fan's left hand suddenly struck out with his strongest palm. With his cold attribute Inner Force and the strengthening of the Dragon Claw, the power of this palm was extremely high. A dense cold air rose from the surroundings, and white frost formed on the ground. The martial monarch stood there, his expression unchanged, and only extended his palm to meet Li Fan's palm. However, Li Fan smiled strangely. When his left hand touched the martial monarch's palm, his moves suddenly changed. Profound Dragon Drinking Water. In an instant, the martial monarch's palm was grabbed by Li Fan. Even if it was him, it would be difficult for him to break free in a short period of time. Thunder Dragon Blast Head, 130% power. Li Fan's right hand slashed out with a hand blade, forming a lightning blade that slashed towards the martial monarch's chest. However, the martial monarch was still the martial monarch. He suddenly kicked the top of his head, sending Li Fan's lightning blade flying. At the same time, Jiang Feng's move also landed, his two tiger claws directly grabbing towards the martial monarch's neck. However, the martial monarch used his inner force to grab onto Li Fan's palm, bringing along Li Fan's body, and pushed him under Jiang Feng's claws. Jiang Feng frowned. Right now, Li Fan was still his ally, so he had no choice but to forcefully retract his move. He retreated a few steps and finally stepped on the ground to stabilize his body. This is the full strength of the two of you. The martial monarch sighed, looks like the surprise will end here. Chapter 1493. Is that so? However, Li Fan took a step forward and struck out with both of his palms towards the martial monarch once again. From Li Fan's palms, a huge wave of inner force was pushed out. The surroundings became cold once again, and the entire hall was covered in a thin layer of ice. It's useless. The martial monarch planned to use a single palm to break Li Fan's palm energy, but at this moment, the Taiji diagram in Li Fan's body suddenly began to spin. With the help of the Taiji diagram, Li Fan's palm strike seemed to have mobilized all of his strength. Profound Dragon Ice Palm, double, overturning the heavens and stirring the seas, 150% of my power. With both palms out, Li Fan's palms directly shot out a white ice dragon. The condensed chi directly charged towards the martial monarch. At the side, Jiang Feng also extended his claw and unleashed a huge black tiger, pouncing towards the martial monarch. A dragon and a tiger, one black and one white, one left and one right, charged towards the martial monarch. The martial monarch finally frowned. The moves of these two people had finally displayed an extraordinary power. Even the martial monarch could not promise what he had said before. He had no choice but to extend his other hand. Both of his hands released a strong inner force, forming a golden wave of air that rushed out and dissolved the two's attacks. The martial monarch was indeed the martial monarch. Even his moves were incomparably tyrannical. Although Li Fan and Jiang Feng's dragon and tiger were powerful, under the tyrannical power of the martial monarch, they had no choice but to fall apart. However, the more Li Fan and Jiang Feng fought, the more courageous they became. The two of them used more and more moves. The dragon and tiger continued to attack, each time more ferocious than the last. The martial monarch's originally calm face began to show signs of fatigue. Double, Thunder Dragon Mountain. 16% of my power. Li Fan unleashed his power to the limit. He swung both of his hands out, forming a lightning blade that instantly slashed out. The martial monarch had no choice but to open his hands and receive Li Fan's lightning blade. Then, he tried to push the lightning blade away. The martial monarch's hands were wrapped in protective aura, but he was actually unable to break through the lightning blade. Seeing that the thunder saber was about to be blocked, Jiang Feng suddenly stretched out his hand and pushed. The black tiger pounced forward and bit the lightning saber. It pushed the lightning saber and smashed it into the martial monarch's body. Bang! The thunder knife and the black tiger crashed into the wall, piercing through it and creating a cloud of dust in the room. Who? Li Fan waved his hand and dispersed the smoke in the room. The martial emperor stood in front of the broken wall and seemed to be in a sorry state. A large part of his clothes had been torn, and there was a bloodstain on his shoulder. It was obvious that he had been severely injured. Very good. A haze flashed through the martial monarch's eyes. The two of you actually dared to injure us. I cannot let you live today. You die and I die. Li Fan once again pressed forward and directly used the profound dragon ice palm at close range. Give me your life. Jiang Feng followed closely behind and used the Azura's evil tiger palm. The two engaged in close combat with the martial monarch. The martial monarch's body burst out with white light. He used the great formless technique and pushed Li Fan and Liao Ju to the side with his internal energy. Black Emperor subduing demon. The martial monarch attacked with both palms again, and the image of a white-robed great emperor appeared behind him. At the same time, a huge force hit Li Fan and Liao Ju's body, colliding with the two's attack again. The three people's strength actually reached a balance. These three unprecedented experts, their strength entangled with each other and were in a deadlock, seemingly unable to determine the winner for a while. The three people exerted all their strength, but after a while, cold sweat appeared on their foreheads. At this moment, the three people's gazes were almost all on Liao Wushuang, who was at the side. At this time, Liao Wushuang became the person who controlled the battle. After all, she also had a portion of strength, and with Li Fan's fusion joy goo in her body, she could display the strength of a generation's grandmaster. Normally, a generation's grandmaster was nothing to Li Fan and Liao Ju. But now, it had become a crucial deciding factor. Qian. My daughter. The martial monarch spoke first. He ordered unquestionably, immediately obey my decree, kill these two disobedient people. Liao Wushuang, don't listen to him. Seeing that Liao Wushuang really stood up in a daze and picked up the long sword that fell to the side, Jiang Feng was a little anxious. He can't be considered as your father. Don't be used by him. Li Fan, why don't you say something? Jiang Feng saw that Li Fan didn't say anything. He became angry. Say what? Li Fan didn't care at all. I believe in her. Your expectations of her are all stupid. The martial monarch ridiculed Li Fan. I know her better than you. She is not worthy of expectations. and can only do this for me. This is the meaning of her birth. At least she doesn't look like a complete wastrel. I won't allow you to call her waste. A golden light burst out from Li Fan's eyes, a figure suddenly flew out from his body. It was actually another Li Fan. This Li Fan held a long sword in his hand, and instantly appeared in front of the martial monarch. Azure Dragon Water Drop. This avatar's sword went straight for the martial monarch's throat. The martial monarch's eyes widened. He didn't expect Li Fan to have an avatar. Bai Liang had also practiced this move before, but Liao Ju himself didn't. He felt that he could be invincible in the world, there was no need for him to practice this superfluous thing. But who would have thought that at this moment, he would actually suffer in this place? Die! Li Fan's sword had already stabbed down. At the same time, Liao Wushuang also grabbed her sword, and from behind the martial monarch, she also stabbed towards the martial monarch. All of you are rebelling. Liao Ju was furious. There are always unruly people who want to harm me. Roar! With a loud roar, his body suddenly erupted with a strong wave of qi. With him as the core, a wave of inner force quickly spread out in all directions. Li Fan and Liao Wushuang were immediately sent flying and fell to the side. Zhang Feng was also the same, he took a few steps back. Li Fan's avatar was directly smashed into pieces, leaving not even a trace behind. A martial monarch is indeed a martial monarch. If he really exploded, he would also have this kind of strength. Don't be afraid, let's continue. Li Fan readjusted his state and pushed his palms forward. Profound Dragon Spitting Pearl. A white chi bead flew out and shot towards the martial monarch. Zhang Feng, who was at the side, followed suit and spat out a black ball from his mouth, following closely behind. The white bead and black ball rotated, and in the blink of an eye, they arrived in front of the martial monarch. Break! However, the martial monarch only shouted loudly and shattered the two chi beads. At this time, the martial monarch's entire body was wrapped in a black radiance, his eyes were also emitting a black radiance. It was extremely strange. Not good. Liao Wushuang had sobered up a little, but when she saw the martial monarch's appearance, she covered her mouth in shock. He has started to comprehend the 5th level. She was right. Under this attack, the martial monarch had finally stepped into the 5th level of the 5 Emperors' Grimoire. Chapter 1494. Liao Ju's body was flawed, so he was unable to truly reach the 5th floor of the treasure palace. He only vaguely touched the threshold under the stimulation of Li Fan and Zhang Feng. However, this small threshold brought about a huge change to Liao Ju. For a moment, Li Fan and Zhang Feng felt the pressure multiplying. The two of them raised their inner energy and struggled to hold on. Liao Ju looked at the two of them and sneered. He, did you see that? I only need to work a little harder and I am already far inferior to you. Did you see that? This is the difference between you and me. This martial monarch is a little arrogant. Third brother, can you endure it? I can't, so I've decided to help you get rid of him. You want me to be the main attacker? Of course, after all, you still have a trick up your sleeve. Li Fan said as he exchanged blows with the martial monarch. How can you say that about me? I have no reservations against you. Zhang Feng immediately cried out in grievance. Do you think I'm stupid? Where's your dragon god's possession? Third brother, you're too dishonest. Didn't you also hide a trick up your sleeve? Zhang Feng also exposed Li Fan's concealment. At this time, let's not hide anymore. Everyone, bring out your strongest skills. Alright, then I will work hard to break through my limits. Li Fan laughed dryly. Following that, his left hand continued to maintain the form of a dragon arm, while his right hand returned to a human hand. Then, he condensed a sword and held it in his hand. Dragon Palm Dragon Sword. This was Li Fan's trump card. Li Fan's left hand sent out a profound dragon ice palm towards Liao Ju. When Liao Ju sealed his palm energy, Li Fan's other hand held onto the dragon sword and directly slashed towards the martial monarch's throat. The martial monarch extended his other hand and immediately clamped onto Li Fan's sword. However, Li Fan's palm once again erupted with power. His palm released a strong frost inner force that struck Liao Ju's body. White frost burst out and instantly froze Liao Ju's palm. Dragon God Possession. The nanonuclei in Jiang Feng's body also became active, and a golden light fell from the sky, pouring into Li Fan's body through the broken wall. Just like photosynthesis, Jiang Feng was temporarily bestowed with power. Soon, a pair of golden wings sprouted from Jiang Feng's back. Lightning of the Dragon God. The nanonuclei spun rapidly and rubbed against each other, attracting the power in the clouds. Soon, a bolt of lightning struck down and struck Jiang Feng's golden wings. The lightning energy was stored in the nanocore before flowing through his meridians to be used by Jiang Feng. Not long after, a blue electric light formed in Jiang Feng's hand. Judgment. Jiang Feng flapped his 4 pairs of wings and flew up. He hung in the air, almost touching the ceiling. Jiang Feng combined his Azura sword qi and pointed a finger at the martial emperor below. A thunderbolt was instantly released from Jiang Feng's finger and struck towards the martial emperor. Bang! The martial emperor raised his frozen palm and placed it in front of him to block the lightning. The frost on his hand exploded, but he had an arm that was clearly injured. Blood flowed down his arm, onto his fingers, and then dripped onto the ground. You have truly angered me. The martial emperor's anger burned, and the lion behind him roared. It suddenly leaped up from the side and pounced towards Li Fan, overturning the heavens and stirring the sea. Li Fan did not even look at the lion, and directly struck out with his palm. The lion's body immediately froze into an ice sculpture in the air, and then exploded. The martial emperor's body was wrapped in a layer of faint black light. After comprehending that threshold, he raised his strength to the limit. Thunder Palm. Jiang Feng flapped his wings, and his body was pushed forward. He immediately arrived in front of the martial emperor, and with a palm that carried lightning, he directly struck towards the top of the martial emperor's head. Li Fan also made his move at the same time. He used the frozen 9 provinces, and his entire left hand's dragon claw was wrapped in frost as he slapped towards the martial emperor from the other side. All of you, die. The martial emperor roared as he stretched out both of his hands to receive the two's palm energy. With a loud rumble, the entire building seemed to tremble. The palms of the 3 people collided, and a powerful inner force surged in all directions. The ground beneath their feet could no longer withstand the force and instantly split open, then collapsed. The 3 of them fell from the 100th floor to the 99th floor. Liao Wushuang was worried about Li Fan's safety, so he also jumped down. At this time, on the 99th floor, the 3 of them were still entangled together. Their palms were facing each other, and the veins on their faces were bulging. It was obvious that they had circulated their power to the limit. The martial emperor, Liao Ju, who had previously boasted that he was invincible in the world, had finally been forced to such a state by 2 young experts with extraordinary martial arts. Your Majesty! 3 martial emperor realm thugs were patrolling this floor. Seeing that someone was fighting with their emperor, all of them were anxious to protect their master. They immediately pounced over and slashed the steel sabers in their hands at Li Fan and Jiang Feng's necks. Liao Wushuang raised his sword and was about to block them. However, a strong energy burst out from the 2 of them at the same time, directly sending the 3 people flying. The 3 people flew very far away. Some smashed the tables and chairs, some crashed into the wall, and one even broke the window and fell outside. Liao Wuxuang took a closer look and saw that the 2 remaining people were also bleeding from their 7 orifices. It was obvious that their heart meridians had been shattered. It was like a fight between 3 immortals. No one could interfere when these 3 people fought. At this time, Li Fan, Jiang Feng, and Liao Ju were standing in a circle with their palms pressed together, competing with each other's inner force. White smoke rose from the top of the 3 people's heads at the same time, showing how fierce their fight was. All the energy in Li Fan's body had been mobilized. At this time, he did not have any extra energy to split out an extra clone to fight. He had to think of a way to kill the martial emperor. Otherwise, this battle would be too disadvantageous for them. However, the 3 of them were competing with each other's inner force, and no one could stop at this time. They could only let each other continue to use their inner force. These 3 people each had their own strengths in terms of inner force. The martial emperor, Liao Ju, cultivated Yang Qi. The inheritance of the martial emperor's divine technique allowed him to occupy a commanding position in martial arts. Especially since he had lived for several decades, his inner force was profound. Jiang Feng and Li Fan, one cultivated Azura Qi, while the other cultivated Yuan Qi. Both of them had their own strengths, but when combined, they were not inferior to the martial emperor. What martial emperor? I think you're only so-so. Jiang Feng tried to disturb the martial emperor's mind, so he ridiculed, our ages added together are less than 50, but we can suppress you today. Why don't you just admit defeat? That way, you won't lose too badly. Who said that I would lose? The martial monarch let out a roar, and the aura on his body became even more powerful. Chapter 1495. Li Fan and Jiang Feng were both a little dumbfounded. How could he continue to become stronger? Fuck, as expected of the martial emperor, this guy's strength was really unfathomable. The most frightening thing was that he firmly believed in his invincible king's will. It was like a kind of brainwashing, making him indestructible. Great non-phase method. The martial emperor suddenly pulled back his hands, but he continued to compete with the 2 of them with his internal force. Then, the martial emperor retracted his right hand and stretched out his left hand in front of him. With only the strength of one hand, he blocked the joint attack of Jiang Feng and Li Fan. The martial emperor's great non-phase method was infinitely useful. Even Li Fan and Jiang Feng couldn't come up with a way to deal with it in a short period of time. Liao Ju competed with the 2 of them with one hand, but he stretched out his other hand and spread it out in front of him. Great non-phase method, Xianyuan sword technique. The martial emperor combined these 2 martial arts together. Under the control of his inner force, the swords hanging on the surrounding walls suddenly left their respective scabbards one after another and flew to the martial emperor's side. Like loyal guards, they floated in the air. Li Fan counted a total of 9 swords, which seemed to imply the meaning of the emperor. 1 sword to settle the 9 provinces. Under the martial emperor's order, 2 swords suddenly shot over and stabbed towards Jiang Feng and Li Fan, aiming straight for their throats. Dragon Lock Divine Weapon. Thunder, immortal guides the way. Li Fan raised the long sword in his hand, locked the sword that flew in front of him, and then flicked it away. Jiang Feng, who was next to him, flicked out a sword chi with lightning, and also deflected the attack of the sword. However, the martial emperor's move was not that simple. His 9 swords suddenly moved at the same time, each of them displaying a different Xianyuan sword technique, as if 9 powerful swordsmen were using them, making one wonderful move after another, constantly attacking Li Fan and Jiang Feng. No matter how powerful Li Fan and Jiang Feng were, under such attacks, they were a little overwhelmed. It had to be said that the martial emperor's move was indeed somewhat overbearing. Flying Dragon Dance. Li Fan gave Jiang Feng a look, and Jiang Feng understood. In the next second, Li Fan suddenly let out a loud roar, and with a war dragon roar, the martial emperor was stunned for a second. The internal energy connection between the three of them was completely broken. Li Fan took advantage of this opportunity. Holding his sword, he turned into an afterimage and attacked the 9 swords. With a few clangs, the 9 swords displaying the Xianyuan swordsmanship were bounced off by Li Fan. At the same time, Jiang Feng also moved. He transformed into a fierce tiger that descended the mountain and instantly pounced in front of the martial emperor. His claws were covered in lightning as he struck out with a series of evil tiger palms. Jiang Feng's rhythm became faster and faster. He waved his claws continuously, leaving behind many afterimages as he left many wounds on the martial monarch's body. The two of them coordinated their attacks perfectly, causing the martial monarch to be in a very sorry state. If this continued, even a martial monarch would be at a disadvantage. Pfft. The martial monarch was suddenly struck in the chest by Jiang Feng's palm. Although the protective aura prevented the martial monarch from having his heart dug out, Jiang Feng's strength still caused him a lot of injuries. The martial monarch retreated a few steps and spat out a large mouthful of blood. How could I lose? Liao Ju wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, still unwilling to believe the fact that he was going to lose. Liao Ju, admit it, you are not invincible. Li Fan's dragon claws grabbed onto the wall at the side, his entire body was stuck there, and he pointed his sword at Liao Ju. Your time of death is nigh. Jiang Feng was also addicted to fighting. He was about to kill the martial monarch and obtain his complete 5 Emperor's Manual. How could Jiang Feng not be happy? Kill! Jiang Feng's attack rhythm became faster and faster, and even the martial monarch was slowly unable to handle it. At this time, Li Fan suddenly leaped up, turned his body in the air, and thrusted his sword down towards the martial monarch. Liao Ju raised his head, and his eyes locked onto Li Fan, preparing to dodge this attack. But at this time, Jiang Feng suddenly stretched out his arms and hugged Liao Ju. Liao Ju frowned, and a strong force burst out from his body, charging towards Jiang Feng, trying to knock him away. But Jiang Feng actually forcefully withstood the shock waves, and all sorts of horrifying wounds appeared on his body. Relying on his Azura physique, Jiang Feng locked Liao Ju's movements. Bastard! Don't even think of touching me. Liao Ju was filled with unwillingness, and he let out a roar, but Li Fan's sword was already at the top of his head. Puchi, the long sword directly pierced through the martial monarch's protective aura, and pierced into the top of his head. No. I am not fated to die. The martial monarch's eyes shone with a strong desire to live, but he did not have a monstrous physique like Li Fan and Jiang Feng. After the sword pierced through his head, Liao Ju's head was directly pierced through, and fresh blood flowed out from the sword. Jiang Feng continued to stab the martial monarch, and with a palm, he dug out the martial monarch's boiling heart from his chest, and held it in his hand. The heart was still beating, one beat after another, representing the martial monarch's strong vitality. Even a martial monarch would not be able to withstand 2 consecutive fatal injuries. The martial monarch fell to his knees with a plop, and his eyes widened continuously. Ugh! Jiang Feng's eyes shone with a golden light, and he suddenly pointed a finger at Li Fan. Gotcha! A bolt of lightning shot towards Li Fan, but Li Fan was already prepared. With a slap of his left dragon claw, the lightning bolt was shattered. What? The fox's tail is finally showing. Li Fan looked at Jiang Feng, and his eyebrows raised slightly. There are only 2 of you here. How about I send the 2 of you off together? Jiang Feng said, and his finger pointed at Liao Wuxuang. The lightning bolt struck at Liao Wuxuang, and Li Fan immediately stepped forward and slapped it away. Jiang Feng, aren't you a little shameless? Come at me if you can. Neither of you can escape. It doesn't matter who I kill first. Jiang Feng said, and with a snap of his fingers, 9 long swords flew up, and they all used the Xianyuan swordsmanship to entangle Li Fan. Li Fan dealt with these long swords alone, and Jiang Feng once again summoned the lightning bolt, ready to kill Liao Wushuang. But Li Fan's avatar jumped out and protected Liao Wushuang, using his body to bear the attack for her. Bang! Li Fan's avatar was blown to pieces, and Liao Wushuang took the opportunity to take a few steps back, turned around, and ran out of the window with Qin Gong. She was not afraid of death, but she would only become a burden to Li Fan if she stayed here. As long as she left, Li Fan would definitely be able to deal with Jiang Feng with his strength. Where are you going? A figure appeared in front of the window, and it was Jiang Feng. The other Jiang Feng was fighting with Li Fan. Chapter 1496. Martial Emperor had been eliminated by the two of them. Jiang Feng took the opportunity to launch a surprise attack, ready to eliminate Li Fan and Liao Wushuang in one fell swoop. He even learned the external body incarnation from Bai Liang. Another Jiang Feng stood in front of Liao Wushuang, blocking her way to escape. Get out of my way. Liao Wushuang was not a vegetarian. She had obtained Li Fan's pleasure goo, so she could get a part of his strength from Li Fan. She now had the strength of a grandmaster, while Jiang Feng's incarnation had the strength of a semi-sage. Liao Wushuang's heart destruction palm hit Jiang Feng's chest. But Jiang Feng's power was strange, it actually sucked Liao Wushuang's palm. Great phaseless technique. Liao Wushuang instantly recognized this technique. At the same time, Jiang Feng's chest shook, and his internal force hit Liao Wushuang, sending her flying. I am the only one who can walk out of here today. Jiang Feng was very confident. With the help of Dragon God and Liao Ju's ability, he felt that he was almost invincible in the world. As long as he killed Li Fan and learned the true immortal secret art from him, it would be a success. Once Li Fan died, his sister would lose her backbone and naturally return to his side. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Moreover, all of this could logically be pushed onto the martial emperor. Wushuang, be careful. Li Fan was worried about Liao Wushuang's safety. At this time, he could only think of a way to let Liao Wushuang escape from here first. Li Fan came up with an idea. He stretched out his left hand and raised it in the air. Tai Chi, mysterious dragon drinking water. From Li Fan's left hand, a strong suction force was released, as if creating a black hole out of thin air, causing the 2 Jiang Fengs in the middle of the field to sway. Their bodies were pulled, and in a short span of 2 or 3 seconds, they simultaneously took a few steps toward Li Fan. Jiang Feng's expression changed, and he shouted, "Not good." Taking advantage of these 2 or 3 seconds, Liao Wushuang jumped out of the window with lightness skill. After all, she was a grandmaster, and her lightness skill level was also very high. Damn it! Jiang Feng couldn't help but curse. This brat, Li Fan, had too many strange tricks. He actually used this kind of method to deal with him. Alright. Jiang Feng withdrew his clone, and the 2 figures quickly overlapped, turning back into one person. Let me defeat you when you go all out. I'll make you accept your defeat wholeheartedly. Jiang Feng originally wanted to make Li Fan a burden and then kill him. He didn't expect his plan to be ruined. Since that was the case, he could only face Li Fan head-on. Li Fan, after you die, I will take good care of your 7 Knights villa. When Jiang Feng made his move, he did not forget to provoke Li Fan. However, Li Fan was no longer a greenhorn. His mind was calm as he observed Jiang Feng's moves, searching for flaws. Although the two of them were shouting, neither of them made the first move. They looked at each other from a distance, waiting for the other to make the first move. Although it was said that the first to make the move had the advantage, in the process of martial arts, the earlier one made a move, the earlier one would show flaws. Both of them were experts. Once the other party found a flaw, it was very likely that they would be greeted with a fatal attack. Martial Emperor was the best ending. His corpse was still lying on the ground, reminding the two of them that neither of them could be careless. However, this deadlock was also not a solution. Jiang Feng's Dragon God's possession had a time limit. In the end, he couldn't help but make the first move. Stellar Thunder Rush. Jiang Feng suddenly flapped his wings and flew into the sky. The nanonuclei in his body suddenly broke through his skin, flew out, and floated in the air. Apart from Jiang Feng, who had a super strong healing ability, probably no one else could use this kind of method. Soon, the air of the hall was filled with Jiang Feng's nanonuclei, as if they were real stars. Kill! Jiang Feng pointed at Li Fan, and the nanonuclei suddenly released lightning, like a thunderstorm, densely packed, and fell toward Li Fan. Li Fan's body left a series of afterimages, dodging the lightning. However, the speed of the lightning is very fast, and a few of them still hit Li Fan, causing him to retreat step by step. If this goes on, Li Fan probably won't be able to hold on for long. Go! Li Fan had no choice but to throw his sword into the air. The sword floated in the air, like a lightning rod, attracting the surrounding lightning. Bang, bang, bang. The lightning finally let go of Li Fan and landed on the treasured sword one after another. Then, the treasured sword diverted the lightning power away. You like to use your brain, not bad. Jiang Feng praised. However, you still can't escape from my encirclement. Liao Wushuang has already escaped. Jiang Feng will absolutely not let Li Fan go. If Li Fan leaves, all his previous efforts will be in vain. Li Fan. He must leave his life here. Jiang Feng flapped his wings, and the surrounding nanonuclei flew back and entered Jiang Feng's body again. At the same time, Jiang Feng pounced in front of Li Fan, and used the 5 Emperor's divine palm on Li Fan. Yellow Emperor riding the dragon. Azure Emperor subduing the sea. Flame Emperor blazing the prairie. White Emperor supporting the sky. Black Emperor subduing the devil. When Jiang Feng uses this set of palm techniques, the power is naturally not bad. One move after another, every time it hits Li Fan's vital points. Li Fan has always liked to use offense as defense, but now he has no choice but to passively defend. No wonder even a martial monarch can only be at a disadvantage. Jiang Feng's palm attacks contain the ferocity of a fierce tiger, which indeed increases his strength. Li Fan uses the Thunder Dragon Heavenly Punishment to protect himself, and continuously attacks Jiang Feng's palms. But Jiang Feng's attacks are getting faster and more ferocious. Roar! Li Fan suddenly grasps the opportunity and suddenly uses War Dragon Roar. This roar has a dizzying effect, causing Jiang Feng to be slightly stunned. And at this moment, Li Fan also makes his move. He directly slashes his sword at Jiang Feng's throat, taking his life with one strike. This long sword instantly pierces through the back of Jiang Feng's head, bringing with it a red and white substance. It looks very terrifying. But Jiang Feng has already recovered. He stretches out his hand, grabs the blade, and then slowly pulls this treasured sword out of his head. A bloody hole is left there, and then it slowly heals. Jiang Feng gives Li Fan a smile. This move of yours is not bad, but it will belong to me in a while. Aren't you a little perverted? These words of yours are a little inappropriate. Jiang Feng wants to roll his eyes. If you have the Shangfang sword, I would still be a little afraid of you. Unfortunately, the current you, what do you use to kill me? Jiang Feng's face is full of smiles. That's true. Li Fan suddenly takes a few steps back. Now that things have come to this, it is useless to be arrogant. It is better to use the divine weapon to kill Jiang Feng. He infuses inner force into his right shoulder, and very quickly, a new aura appears behind Li Fan. This time, it is not a divine dragon, but a fierce white tiger. This aura caused Jiang Feng to be a little surprised. Li Fan's entire aura has changed, as if he has become a different person. Chapter 1497. Li Fan stretched out his hands and a white bow appeared in his hands. He slowly drew the bow and aimed it at Jiang Feng. What's this? Jiang Feng sensed an ominous aura from the bow and arrow. Why don't you take a guess? Li Fan smiled. He wasn't going to tell Jiang Feng. He would let him suffer a loss first. The white tiger divine bow was also a divine weapon. Theoretically, it should be able to kill Jiang Feng. However, the time he could use this divine weapon was limited. The battle with Liao Ju had consumed a lot of his inner energy. He could only use this godly bow for less than 2 minutes. Li Fan quickly drew the bow and aimed it at Jiang Feng. Although there were no arrows, Jiang Feng felt a terrifying sense of threat, causing cold sweat to drip from his forehead. Li Fan suddenly pulled the bowstring into a full moon shape and released it. The tight bowstring produced dust in the air. Jiang Feng immediately bent down and squatted on the ground. His forehead was covered in cold sweat and his body was trembling slightly. This time, he had tasted the power of the white tiger divine bow. Li Fan did not want to waste any more time. 2 minutes. If he did not die, then Jiang Feng would be finished. He drew the bowstring again. However, Jiang Feng was already prepared. He released his doppelganger to entangle Li Fan while he jumped out of the window and escaped. Damn, this guy is smart. Li Fan could not do anything about his opponent escaping. He kept the white tiger divine bow and adjusted his aura to return to its original state. Li Fan's arm also slowly returned to its original state. For a moment, a feeling of emptiness appeared in Li Fan's body. This battle had used up too much of his strength. However, looking at the martial emperor's corpse, Li Fan also heaved a sigh of relief. He had finally won. This guy would no longer be a threat in the future. For the sake of insurance, Li Fan set fire to the martial monarch's corpse and burned it together. This should be foolproof. Li Fan stretched his back. Today's mission was successful. It was time for him to go back. Li Fan. Liao Wushuang suddenly jumped in from the window and stepped forward to help the stumbling Li Fan. A fragrance wafted over. This familiar fragrance made Li Fan feel at ease. Teacher Liao, why are you back? The martial emperor's body was burnt to ashes. Li Fan was afraid that Liao Wushuang would see it, so he quickly turned her to the other side. I'll be fine. Liao Wushuang naturally knew what Li Fan was thinking, so she gave Li Fan a reassuring smile. I was worried about you, so I came back to take a look. My teacher Liao, why are you so silly? Where we come from, this is called caring. Liao Wushuang transferred some of her internal force to Li Fan so that Li Fan could recover faster. Don't worry, I'm full of energy. Even if Jiang Feng comes back, I can still fight him. Li Fan said confidently. Idiot, you're still so stubborn. I have your joy goo. Do you think I don't know your current state? Liao Wushuang looked at Li Fan with some heartache. You're obviously still a child. Can't you act coquettishly to me or something? How can a man act coquettishly? Li Fan hugged Liao Wushuang's slender waist, "My teacher Liao, how come your waist is so thin? And some places are so big, a devil's figure. Go to hell, you just recovered a little and you're already acting so indecent." Liao Wuxuang ruthlessly glared at Li Fan, but at this time, Li Fan's hand was still wandering around Liao Wuxuang's body. "Don't. This place is not good." Liao Wuxuang's face immediately turned red, and she quickly and gently pulled away Li Fan's hand. "You've been locked up for so many days, I'm worried about your body." Li Fan had a look of concern on his face. "That's why I have to give Teacher Liao a checkup as soon as possible." With that, he moved his hand up and started to touch her body even more unscrupulously. "You can't." Because of the Hehuan Gu, Li Fan's caress made Liao Wuxuang extremely sensitive. She felt that she couldn't bear it anymore. "This place can't. What if Jiang Feng comes back?" "Him? Don't worry, he won't dare to come back." Li Fan can be said to have a good understanding of Jiang Feng. "This kid is very cautious, I guess he will go back to recuperate, and then find an opportunity to kill me. That's not good. I'm worried." Liao Wuxuang was touched by Li Fan, and her eyes were dripping with tears, making Li Fan's heart beat faster. "It's been so long, it seems that I haven't eaten Teacher Liao, it's a bit of a waste." Li Fan continued to practice his technique on Liao Wuxuang's body, making Liao Wuxuang tremble, and her mouth was making a pleasant chant. As long as Li Fan works hard, he can push Liao Wuxuang down. Although Liao Wuxuang said no, her body is honest, unable to resist Li Fan's demand. Just when Li Fan was ready to push the boat with the current, he suddenly frowned, raised his head, and looked out the window. "It seems that this is not a good place to do happy things," Li Fan said, holding Liao Wuxuang in his arms. Liao Wuxuang leaned on Li Fan, her body was still trembling, and her face was extremely red. This little lover. Halfway, why did he suddenly not want it? "Teacher Liao, let's go back, there are other guests here," Li Fan said, and left the building with Liao Wuxuang. Not long after they left, two figures appeared in the room. They are none other than Hua and Yu, who escaped before. Yu's mouth hung an ambiguous smile, while Hua's face was red, and her mouth kept making cold snorts. What a pervert. As a man, people also have normal needs. Yu said, squatted down, and looked at the scattered ashes on the ground. Hua, take out the magic weapon. Humph. Hua took out a small bronze mirror from her waist and handed it to Yu. Actually, I'm really worried that the two of them will do it here. If the time is too long, even the gods will not be able to save this person. With that said, Yu pointed the ancient mirror at the ashes, and a golden light flew out, hitting the ashes. Time reversal. Activate. In the golden light, the ashes suddenly rolled up, and then, the fire that was extinguished started again, and the ashes slowly turned into a charred corpse, burning. Surprisingly, the fewer corpses there were, the clearer they became. After a while, the corpses returned to their original appearance, and the flames disappeared. Liao Ju lay on the ground, and then flew into the air. The wounds on his body started to reverse, and his heart returned to his body. In a few minutes, Liao Ju opened his eyes again, and let out a roar. I will not accept this. When he opened his eyes, he saw two strangers in front of him. Done. Yu smiled and handed the bronze mirror to Hua. Who are you? How dare you approach me? Die. Liao Ju's hand emitted a black light, and he directly used the big faceless technique to push it out. Chapter 1498. But the two of them are standing in front of him and the great faceless technique seems to be ineffective against them. Don't waste your energy, your power is useless against us. Jade crosses her arms, her face is filled with pride. We are deities from sky beyond sky, your low-level inner power is useless against us. Liao Ju frowns, sky beyond sky. Deities. Even if you are a deity, you cannot be rude to me. As Liao Ju speaks, he suddenly retracts his great phaseless technique and steps forward. He then uses Yellow Emperor rides the dragon and places his palm on Jade's chest. Jade does not even dodge, he is filled with confidence and does not care about Martial Emperor's attack. But immediately, his expression changes. Bang! Martial Emperor is still standing there, but Jade takes a step back with a bit of blood at the corner of his mouth. Seeing this scene, Hua, who is standing at the side, can't help but show some shock on her beautiful face. This man actually injured a deity from sky beyond sky. What deity? He is only so-so. Liao Ju's face is filled with disdain, but his heart is slightly shocked. He used all of his strength in that palm. If it was someone else, he would have been smashed into pieces. But the opponent is only lightly injured. As expected of Martial Emperor, your ability is not bad. Jade wipes the blood at the corner of her mouth and her face has returned to normal. Since you know how powerful I am, scram. Watch your tone. Hua Yu's face is filled with anger. If I hear you being rude again, I will destroy your body and soul. Calm down. Jade pulls her companion and starts to persuade Martial Emperor. Liao Ju, you are already dead, the two of us saved you. I am dead. How is this possible? Where are those two brats, Li Fan and Jiang Feng? Are they hiding? I am going to kill them. Time has turned back, you have lost a part of your memory. Jade stretches out her finger and before Martial Emperor can react, she points at his forehead. At that instant, streams of memories suddenly surged into the Martial Emperor's mind. In this memory, he sees his own death. What kind of demonic technique did you use? Liao Ju is furious. How could I die in their hands? Impossible. It is up to you whether you believe it or not. Jade shrugged. Since the two of us can save you, we can naturally turn you back into a skeleton. No, you've already been burned to ashes, not even your bones are left. Jade's words caused the Martial Emperor's heart to tremble violently. Had he really lost? He was the chosen one, but he died in this place before he could accomplish his great cause. You don't have to die, and you can become an immortal. Jade started to tempt the Martial Emperor. As long as you are willing to be our representative, we can pass on true immortal arts to you, allowing you to sweep away all opponents in this world. I will not cooperate with anyone. How dare a mere mortal reject my offer? Hua wanted to say something but was stopped by you. Martial Monarch, why do you have to do this? Do you think you're very strong? At most, he was invincible in the human world. Moreover, there were two people who could kill him. Humans are nothing but ants. I'll let you see what a true expert is. With that, the jade touched the Martial Emperor's forehead again and transmitted some of the memories of the sky beyond heaven to the Martial Emperor. In an instant, the Martial Emperor's forehead was covered in cold sweat, his face was pale, and his body swayed. A man who was originally extremely domineering was now filled with despair. This is a heaven immortal. That's right. Jade nodded her head, but as long as you learn our immortal arts, you can also become an immortal. Even though you'll start off as an immortal slave, as long as you train hard, sooner or later you'll become a lower immortal, or even an upper immortal, or even the highest heaven immortal. Jade was like a demon, constantly tempting the Martial Emperor. Who knows, you might even become the Emperor of the sky beyond heaven, as long as you have that ability. The prerequisite is that you have to listen to us and work for us. Choosing the Martial Emperor to be their representative was also the intention of the Heaven Immortals. Among Li Fan, Jiang Feng, and Liao Ju, they thought that Liao Ju's thoughts were the purest. He only wanted to become the strongest expert, the supreme emperor. Since that was the case, they could use divine arts and authority to attract him. As long as a person has a flaw, then he would have a price tag. After learning the true immortal arts, you'll be able to break free from the shackles of this body. From then on, you'll be immortal, and you won't have to worry about changing your body. Jade continued, think about it, what kind of life would that be? Wouldn't it be much happier than now? The martial emperor was indeed moved by Jade's words. All of this could be said to be very beneficial to him. Before, the martial emperor didn't know of the existence of the sky beyond heaven. He thought that he was the strongest in the world. But the appearance of Li Fan, Jiang Feng, and the sky beyond heaven, put a heavy weight on his ambition. Only by learning the immortal arts can he improve further. You're right, I'm not willing to just be the emperor of humans. He raised his head and looked straight into Jade's eyes. I want to learn the immortal arts, I want to become immortal, I want to become an immortal emperor. Good ambition. Jade clapped her hands happily, I have high hopes for you. Come, let's sign a contract, then I can teach you the immortal arts. I still need to sign a contract. Of course, it's just a contract that guarantees that you'll complete our mission, it won't affect you much. You can refuse, but you'll lose the chance to become an immortal. How about it, do you want to sign? All right. The martial emperor agreed immediately, he doesn't have the right to refuse anymore. If he wants to win, he must become stronger. A true monarch could endure the pain of enduring hardships in order to gain courage. Liao Ju, you can definitely endure it. Martial emperor, this is the true immortal arts, you better remember it. With that, Jade once again stretched out her finger and tapped the martial emperor's forehead. A huge force instantly charged into the martial emperor's forehead. He screamed and then his body started to tremble. Jade has already retracted her finger, standing by the side, looking at the trembling martial emperor and sneering. If a mortal wants to learn this immortal art, he'll have to faint for at least 3 days and 3 nights. Flower said, we'll come and find him in 3 days. As you wish. Jade nodded her head. Just as the two of them were about to leave, the martial emperor stopped trembling and stood up again, his eyes burning with flames. This is the true immortal art. Interesting. The two immortals looked at the martial emperor in shock, he learned it just like that. How can a mortal digest such a huge amount of mental energy so easily? Without sleeping for a few days, he definitely won't be able to learn it. The mental art is indeed very long, we need to slowly digest it, it will probably take around a day or so. The martial emperor clasped his hands towards the two of them, if the two of you don't mind, you can stay here or come and find me in a day. We will come again in a day, Jade stuttered a bit, this martial emperor is actually so powerful. Chapter 1499. The moment Li Fan arrived at the villa, he received a summons from the 9th Directorate. He had no choice but to rush to the 9th Directorate's office. Little Li, you sure are cool. The moment he entered the office, he saw little Chen's envious face. Aw. What's wrong with me? Li Fan didn't understand. All he did was take a few more glances into the office. As usual, the office was still as empty as ever. There was only Jing, Director Yang, and Little Chen. Little Chen was wearing a police uniform and waiting for him at the door. As for Director Yang, he seemed to be reading some information. He had changed his hairstyle today, and it seemed to be a wig. And Jing poured coffee by the side, bending her back slightly. Her figure formed a seductive arc that made Li Fan couldn't help but take a few more glances. This girl's legs were really long. Most of the girls around Li Fan were long-legged girls. This seemed to be a unique preference he had for girls. Li Fan, you still know to come. And Jing leaned to the side and raised her coffee cup. She looked at Li Fan with a faint smile. I thought you would resign after coming once. Alright, the two of you, cut it out. Director Yang always protected Li Fan at critical moments. After all, only he knew how precious Li Fan was. Little Li is a special agent. He doesn't have to come usually. It's not like you don't know that. Director Yang, you're too biased. Little Chin wailed. Why don't I transfer to special agent too? Nonsense. Do you think you can change a job arranged by the organization just because you want to? Director Yang criticized Little Chin harshly, making the latter pull a long face. Why don't you let me carry out this mission? Studying at university seems rather interesting. Who knows, I might be able to get a girlfriend. Little Chin volunteered again. And Jing, who do you think is more suitable for this mission? Director Yang wasn't in a hurry to object. Instead, he kicked the ball to Jing. Little Chen has a rash personality. Furthermore, he looks like an old single youth who has worked in society for many years. He's not suitable for this mission. And Jing's honest words dealt a huge blow to Little Chin. Hey. It's fine if it's a young man, but why did you add single? That's because you look like a single dog. This is too much. Personal attack. Little Chin felt wronged. Alright, quiet down. Continue. Director Yang gestured for Xiao Qin to stop complaining and continued to look at the only girl in the office. As for Li Fan, he's quite young, but a little too mature. However, there were also many boys like this in the university. Boys always like to pretend to be mature. The muddle-headed little Jing had a vicious tongue, leaving Li Fan speechless. Fuck, what was the meaning of pretending to be mature? Yes, Xiao Li. This time, the higher-ups personally assigned you this task. That was exactly what Director Yang wanted. But sometimes, you're too mature. That's not good. You have to regain your youthful vigor, like a vibrant college student. Li Fan smiled bitterly again and again. He had experienced so much and carried such a heavy burden. How could he still be full of vigor? Li Fan was also very envious of the cynical male protagonists in other novels. However, he couldn't be at ease. The last time Chun helped Li Fan do a mental age test, it was revealed that his mental age was in his 70s. This made Li Fan feel like he was on the verge of a breakdown. However, Li Fan felt that this had something to do with his martial arts realm. He had already reached the saint stage, so he was actually very indifferent to matters of the heart. The ancients said that to become an immortal, one had to sever their emotions and desires and reach the state of absolute oblivion. Perhaps if he wanted to reach that level, he would have to experience such a state. Li Fan didn't really want to become like that. Absolute oblivion. If a person didn't have emotions and desires, what was the point of living? Sometimes, Li Fan wanted to return to his past life as a warrior who had just started practicing martial arts. Back then, a bowl of spicy soup, a bowl of rice noodles, a beautiful woman's smile, or even a tiny victory in a sparring match would make Li Fan happy. But now, even though he had defeated a powerful expert like Martial Emperor, Li Fan only felt slightly relieved. He wasn't overjoyed. Returning to college seemed to be an opportunity for him to train his mental state again. After all, he was only in his early 20s. He didn't want to be like an old man who was unperturbed. That would be too boring. And Jing, tell Li Fan about the mission. Little Chin, arrange the itinerary. The two of you will be heading to the imperial capital for this mission and help Little Li with his peripheral work. Yes. Work matters had to be more serious, so Jing and Little Chin agreed. Our goal for this mission is very clear. It's to protect the leader's daughter, Liang-ru. And Jing pressed a switch on the table beside her. The office's doors and windows suddenly closed, and the entire room darkened. The wall pulled open, revealing a huge screen. The screen's light reflected on everyone's faces, making them look somewhat mysterious. And Jing pointed at the girl on the screen and introduced, she's 19 this year. She's a second-year student in the Imperial Capital University's music department. She's majoring in violin. In the photo, Liang-ru was also wearing a white dress. Her long black hair draped over her shoulders as she focused on playing the violin. The sunlight shone on her face, making her look radiant. She was so beautiful that no one dared to look straight at her. That leader was truly blessed to have such a beautiful and elegant daughter. In order to allow you to successfully approach Liang-ru, we have arranged for you to be a second-year transfer student in the music department. Wait, Li Fan suddenly interrupted Liang-ru. Are you kidding me? I don't know a thing about music. You can be groomed. After you reach the imperial capital, you will be given simple music training. By the way, the information says that you also know some disguise techniques. Although I don't know what they are, you will have to use them when the time comes. Although Li Fan was already a has-been internet celebrity, and Jing recalled his face. Even if he was a has-been, he was still popular. Once Li Fan's identity was exposed, it would probably increase the difficulty of the mission. That's not a problem. I can do it. But how simple is simple music training? 3 days. And Jing raised 3 fingers. Li Fan was on the brink of a mental breakdown. Fuck, he wants to train me to have musical talent in 3 days. Are you kidding me? Perhaps I can choose to sing. Using my inner strength to transmit my voice would have a very powerful effect. We will hire the most professional master to train you. Don't worry. And Jing also felt that the time was a little short, but the mission's time was limited. The summer break will end in 3 days. When the time comes, it will be time for you to shine. Li Fan, all the best. I will do my best to help you. Chapter 1500. The imperial capital's National Security Bureau's 9th Bureau had more people than the Spanish fishes. Li Fan even saw the legendary Lu Bu's exoskeleton armor. It was indeed much cooler than Zhang Fei's. It could be seen from Little Chen's glowing eyes. After arriving here, Director Yang naturally didn't have the final say. A female director with the surname Ho took over. Director Ho looked to be in her 30s. She looked very capable and had a bearing. She was much smarter and more energetic than Li Fan's Director Yang. No matter what avatars you had in the past or how high your rank was, once you're here, I have the final say. Just as Li Fan and Jing came to report, the female director gave them a show of strength. And Jing, Little Chen, immediately begin the assistance training. You have 3 days. You have to meet the requirements. The female director began assigning tasks. Li Fan, you have to receive music training. Follow me. She was wearing a red trench coat, and she was in a hurry to do things. The female director led Li Fan all the way to a room at the side. Li Fan entered and saw that the room wasn't small. It had 2 bedrooms and a living room, with an area of about 100 square meters. There were simple living facilities in the room. In the middle of the living room were a few musical instruments, such as a piano, cello, violin, saxophone, flute, etc. This will be your dormitory for the next 3 days. There are all kinds of daily necessities in the room. If you don't have enough, you can submit a request, the female director said. The female division chief said, and these musical instruments were supposed to be learned by you. But considering that time is limited, just pick one. This. Isn't there a Swana or something? I like nationalistic musical instruments. Cut the chatter. Quickly choose. The female director glanced at the time. We don't have much time left. You have to make good use of every minute. From today onwards, you will sleep for 2 hours a day. Other than that, you will receive training. 2 hours. I definitely won't be able to rest well that way. Li Fan clicked his tongue. Aren't you guys being too ruthless? Li Fan grumbled incessantly. If he had known, he would have gotten to take care of his daily life. Coming here was no different from suffering. Assault training. The mission is heavy, but the time is short. The female director rejected Li Fan's protest without hesitation. We will use a drug to make you fall into a deep sleep instantly. 2 hours is enough for you to recover your brain cells. Li Fan was convinced. This female director was really ruthless. Choose one. I suggest you don't choose the piano. The female director said, this course is more difficult. It will take a long time for you to learn it. I'm still choosing the piano. Li Fan's temper flared up. Damn it, he was looked down upon by this female director. No matter what, he had learned how to play the flute from Jiangyi before. It seems that Shin Chen knows how to play the piano. If I had known earlier, I would have learned from her. That little girl was a musical genius. She might be able to teach him some techniques. You're a special agent chosen by the organization. You shouldn't be so willful. The female director frowned slightly and reminded Li Fan. This isn't being willful. This is a challenge. Li Fan stretched his muscles and said, I'll try my best. Willful. Too willful. The female director seemed to be somewhat dissatisfied. However, the choice of the instrument must be based on Li Fan's subjective opinion. After all, a subjective desire to learn is more active than a passive desire. Contact teacher Christina and ask her to come over. The female director ordered. Soon, a blonde middle-aged female teacher walked in. She was wearing a beautiful gown. She walked to Li Fan's side and gently opened the cover of the piano. From today onwards, I will be your teacher. You must listen to my orders. This foreign female teacher used English to communicate with Li Fan. Okay. Teacher, please take care of me. Li Fan was quite polite to this teacher. As for the female director, Li Fan felt that she was bossy and made him uncomfortable. Li Fan was like this. He was famous for being amenable to coaxing but not coercion. Okay, let's begin. I'll teach you the song first. I don't need the finger technique. I'll teach you while you practice the song. According to their plan, Christina had to let Li Fan successfully play 3 famous songs within 3 days. As long as he knew these 3 songs, Li Fan would be able to handle ordinary piano playing. Okay, then I'll have to trouble you, teacher. Li Fan did not have much of a foundation. However, after practicing the 9 truths technique, his understanding of heaven and earth had improved. He had also made great progress in his studies. Moreover, Li Fan knew the law embodiment of heaven and earth, so he could quickly grasp the enemy's moves. His understanding of the piano had also improved. Li Fan was a fast learner. If there was something he did not understand, he would ask Christina to play it again. As long as he watched her play it once, Li Fan would immediately learn the song. This made Christina exclaim, "Oh my God!" Initially, Li Fan's technique was very poor. He was a complete layman. However, as long as he watched her play it once, his finger technique would be modified to perfection. It was as if he was an old musician who had practiced for many years. Originally, she wanted to teach him 3 songs and end it. However, she could not control herself and let Li Fan learn 7 to 8 songs in a day. When Li Fan played these 7 to 8 songs, he sounded like a real musician. There were no flaws at all. However, other than these songs, it would be impossible for Li Fan to play other music according to the score. It would be a complete mess. Li, your imitation ability is really strong. However, your actual piano skills are still very low. However, if you want to learn, you can improve very quickly. Thank you, teacher, but I don't have much time to learn. Li Fan was a little regretful, but the mission was more important. Other things could be put aside for now. Then I'll do my best to teach you more songs. Christina seemed to be very interested in Li Fan. She began to teach more songs to Li Fan. From etudes to world-famous songs. On the first day, Li Fan learned 10 songs. As the saying goes, one should not bite off more than one can chew. For the rest of the time, Christina let Li Fan practice more to consolidate these songs. The female director left Li Fan with the piano teacher and left him alone. She did not seem to be very optimistic about Li Fan. Li Fan was happy to be free. It was good that no one cared about him. In the past few days, his task was to train the piano, which molded Li Fan's character. In 3 days, he learned more than 30 songs. Christina was very emotional. If only Li Fan had more time to learn. She could definitely cultivate this young man into a piano master. You're done. On the 3rd night, Christina said softly to Li Fan, I wish you success in your mission. Chapter 1501. 3 days later, the female director came to check on Li Fan's work. Have you learned a song in the past 3 days? The female director looked at Li Fan and asked in disdain. This guy is stubbornly insisting on learning the most difficult piano. I'm afraid he hasn't even learned a single song until today. It's fine as long as you can play 1/3 of it. That's not a high requirement, right? I heard that this kid is quite strong, but his music level is just a so-so. As long as no one doubted Li Fan's identity, everything else was easy. It's all right. I barely know a little. Li Fan said, honestly, Teacher Christina said that my imitation ability is pretty good. Then play it. I'll listen. The female director did not have high expectations for Li Fan. She crossed her arms and stood by the side, waiting for Li Fan to barely meet the requirements. Li Fan placed his hands on the black and white keyboard and started playing. The female director was impatient at first, but when she heard Li Fan start playing, her expression gradually changed. Li Fan is playing, not bad. Is this really played by a beginner who has only learned for 3 days? It doesn't sound any different from a piano master. That smooth rhythm and cheerful tune made the female director feel as if she had grown a pair of wings. She flew out of the dull office and into the green outdoors. She looked at the stream flowing in front of her and the animals playing in front of her. The female director hurriedly shook her head to wake herself up. This is unbelievable. Li Fan was still playing. Although the female director had a stomach full of questions, she could not bear to interrupt Li Fan. When Li Fan finished playing the song, she was still in shock and only came back to her senses after a long time. Director Ho. Can I? Li Fan's voice woke her up. Not bad. Director Ho suddenly came to her senses and quickly asked Li Fan, have you practiced the piano before? No, it's my first time seeing it. It's quite interesting. Li Fan seemed to like it. When I get to school, I should be able to learn more. Don't forget the mission. The female director was speechless. What was this Li Fan doing here? Yes, I will definitely protect Liang Ru. Please rest assured. To protect her for 3 months, Li Fan felt that he could still do it. In this world, the number of people who could hurt people around him could be counted on one hand. There are 3 things that you must remember. The director extended 3 fingers and instructed Li Fan again. First, you must protect Liang Ru. Don't let her get hurt. Second, you absolutely cannot expose your identity. Thirdly, and most importantly, remember that Liang Ru is the target of your protection. You absolutely cannot develop any feelings for her. You're protecting her. You can't flirt with her. Do you understand? Don't worry, I'm not a Casanova. I won't do that. Li Fan patted his chest and said, "Please believe in my mission and my professional ethics. I definitely won't do such an inhumane thing." That's good. Don't let down the trust that the organization has in you. The female director nodded. You can have a good rest for the rest of the time. Tomorrow morning, report to Imperial Capital University. Yes, leader. Li Fan stretched and thought that he could finally rest. Capital University seems to be worth looking forward to. At this moment, in another distant city, Lu Zhu was sitting in her room, seemingly studying something. At this moment, the television screen beside her suddenly lit up, and a man appeared on it. Leader. Lu Zhu got a shock and hurriedly knelt down in front of the television screen. Greetings, leader. Why didn't you go to the Li family island? The man on the television was none other than Li Wei, the leader of the cult. He looked at Lu Zhu and went straight to the point. Leader, the Li family is far away, and I still have a lot of things to settle in China. So, I didn't go with you. Lu Zhu answered honestly. Li Fan has been to the capital recently. The hierarch sent a message to Lu Zhu. I need you to continue lurking around him and help me retrieve something. What is it? Lu Zhu was a little surprised. She didn't expect the leader to be interested in Li Fan for the first time. The nine-tailed divine fox. Bring me the pearl that the nine-tailed divine fox has transformed into, Li Wei ordered. But. Leader, what's the matter? Li Wei asked sternly. Have you been with Li Fan for too long that you've forgotten who you belong to? Do you want to apostatize? I wouldn't dare. Lu Zhu hurriedly said. I'm loyal to the cult and would never dare to apostatize. That's good. Li Wei nodded. Remember your identity at all times. Do your job well and don't let me down. After saying that, he turned off the video. Lu Zhu felt a little weak and slumped onto the ground in exhaustion. Lu Zhu was in a dilemma. He was in a difficult position. On one hand, there was Li Fan, and on the other hand, there was the leader. He was stuck in the middle and felt like dying. Li Fan. I hope you don't blame me this time. I have no other choice. Lu Zhu could only sigh and slowly stood up as if he had understood something. He patted his cheeks gently. The leader had given him a new lease on life, and he reckoned that it wouldn't affect Li Fan much if he just obtained the pearl of the nine-tailed divine fox. Li Fan had gone to the capital university. It seemed that he had a mission to carry out. In that case, he should think of a way to sneak into the capital university. It was not a university that he could enter just because he wanted to. After all, it was the most famous university in China. Lu Zhu suddenly thought of something and took out his mobile phone to make a call. Hello, is this Minister Li? Yes, it's me. I can teach you the technique you wanted to learn from me last time. Yes, you have to promise me something first. The next morning, Li Fan walked into the capital university with a satchel on his back. The capital university could be said to be the most famous university in China. It had nurtured many outstanding talents and produced many famous and great people. When Li Fan was in high school, he also admired this place. However, he only dared to think about it and had no intention of getting into the university. The only one around him who could easily get into the capital university was Lin Yuhsin. However, for the sake of Li Fan, the little girl had gone all the way to G University to chase after him. Although he felt a little guilty to Lin Yuhsin for coming to the capital university to study, it was for the mission after all. The mission was more important. It was time for the new students to start school. The capital university was bustling with people. Many of the new students were full of ambition and expectations for their new life. Occasionally, there would be couples, some walking, some riding bicycles, passing by him. At the university, Li Fan could smell the scent of love. Chapter 1502. He remembered that when he first went to G University, he met his fated Lu Wan. But would he be able to have any romantic encounters in Imperial Capital University? Bah, Li Fan, oh Li Fan. Don't forget, you're here to carry out a mission. Sure enough, a quiet voice came from his earphones, which had grains of rice in his ears. Li Fan, walk in front of you. The white building in front of you is the Academic Affairs Office. Go to the Academic Affairs Office and look for Dean Ho. He'll arrange everything for you. Okay. Li Fan nodded and retracted his gaze from the legs of the girls around him. The university campus was really good. There were little female juniors in miniskirts everywhere, making people unable to help but linger on. At this time, Li Fan had already changed his appearance slightly. He looked similar to before, but upon closer inspection, there were some differences. This way, his identity wouldn't be exposed. At this time, Li Fan's appearance was also very ordinary. In order to keep a low profile, Li Fan specially cut off his long hair and made a clean crew cut. He wore a white shirt with a black Korean-style tie, black trousers, and white running shoes. He looked like an ordinary university student. There was nothing special about him. If others knew that the famous little tyrant of the pugilistic world had come here to be an ordinary university student, their jaws would definitely drop. At this time, Li Fan had even prepared a new identity. He changed his name to Li Yun and came from an ordinary family. His parents were ordinary workers. Why is the university so big? Li Fan looked at the long road and couldn't help but feel a little depressed. In the past, when he was at G University, he felt like he had to walk thousands of miles to attend a class. Now that he was at Imperial Capital University, he felt like the world was wider. Forget it, stop complaining. Let's open the way. Li Fan carried his backpack and was about to hurry on his way. At this time, a girl suddenly rushed over from the side. She was riding a bicycle and headed straight for the man-made lake at the side. Li Fan was shocked. What was going on? Was he going to use a bicycle to float on water? He took a closer look. My goodness, this young lady was none other than the leader's daughter, Liang Ru. The bicycle just happened to brush past Li Fan. Liang Ru had a ponytail today and was wearing sportswear. She exclaimed repeatedly. At this time, Li Fan reached out his hand and grabbed the back seat of the bicycle, pulling the bicycle. Li Fan was just doing it casually. After stopping the bicycle, he pretended not to care and left. It was still early, so he absolutely could not expose his identity. Almost no one saw Li Fan make a move. The surrounding people who were attracted by Liang Ru's screams only saw Liang Ru's bicycle rush past an unremarkable boy, and then the bicycle slowed down. Strange, Liang Ru got off the bike and checked her bike. Li Fan stood at the side and looked at it. Her bicycle seemed to be expensive. It was not something that an ordinary family could afford. However, according to the information, although Liang Ru's father was a national leader, her mother was the boss of a multinational group. Her family's conditions had always been good. Why did the brakes suddenly break? I hate it, Liang Ru said as she suddenly raised her head. She saw Li Fan standing at the side and pointed at him. You, come here. Me? Li Fan pointed at his nose. He was a little nervous. What did she mean? Did my identity get exposed? Come here and help me fix my bike. What? Li Fan was stunned. Fix his bike. Yes, it's you. Is there anyone else here? Liang Ru spoke impolitely. She stopped her bike in front of Li Fan and pointed at the bike. Fix it. Do I look like someone who fixes cars to you? I don't care. You just need to fix it. Liang Ru's tone was very unfriendly. Li Fan was so angry that he laughed. I can't be bothered with you. Fix it yourself. Li Fan said, I'm only responsible for your safety, but I'm also responsible for fixing your bike. Crazy. Liang Ru, I'll help you fix it. Let me do it. The opportunity is mine. A group of boys suddenly rushed out from the side and rushed to Liang Ru's side. After all, she was a beautiful campus belle. Even if they did not know Liang Ru's identity, just based on her wealth and beauty, men would flock to her like ducks. No need. Liang Ru threw a small tantrum. She pointed at Li Fan and forcefully ordered, I want you to fix it. So what if you're pretty? You have such a big temper. Li Fan rolled his eyes. Do you think you're a princess? I have to obediently follow your words. I don't care. You have to fix my bike. I can't be bothered with you. Li Fan rolled his eyes, turned around, and left. This Liang Ru was really spoiled. But how did her bike's brake break? Everything was fine. Could it be that someone had done it secretly? Thinking of this, Li Fan felt that it was better to monitor Liang Ru a little more. White tiger. Li Fan called out in his heart. The white tiger tattoo on his shoulder suddenly came to life. This white tiger left Li Fan's body and transformed into a form that others could not see. Then, like a gust of wind, it attached itself to Liang Ru's back. This was a new ability of the white tiger that Li Fan discovered. It could summon the white tiger avatar and place it on someone else's body to sense the situation of others. If the other party was in danger, he would be able to detect it immediately. The dragon girl was right. The 4 sacred beasts had many uses. However, the 4 holy towers could not be easily conquered. Otherwise, he would have taken them down in one go. Damn it, you actually dare to reject me. You're dead. Liang Ru angrily stomped her feet at Li Fan. Little Ru, don't care about that idiot. I'll find someone to help you repair your bike. A well-dressed young man walked over and spoke gently to Liang Ru. Who needs you to care? Go die. Liang Ru did not seem to want to pay attention to this young man. She threw the broken bike to the side and left in a huff. Little Ru. Don't be angry. Let's have a meal together. The young man shouted a few times, but Liang Ru ignored him. Seeing Liang Ru swinging her ponytail and striding away with long legs, the young man's eyes could not help but burn. Brother, what should we do? A lackey walked over and asked the young man. She must like me. This young man was called Luonan. He was the son of a big merchant in the capital. His family was rich enough to rival a country. However, it was also because of this that they needed a political marriage to tie their family to the big car that was politics. The Liang family was a red family with roots in the red. Liang Ru's great-grandfather was a famous founding general. Her grandfather was a hero who resisted the US and aided Korea. Unfortunately, Liang Ru did not have any thoughts of becoming an official. Otherwise, everything would have been smooth sailing. Ah. Brother, why are you so sure? She's just shy, that's all. Luo Nan instructed his lackey, investigate that kid just now. He actually made my wife angry. I must teach him a lesson. Chapter 1503. Li Fan, of course, did not know that he had been targeted. At this time, he was busy reporting to the Academic Affairs Office. Director Ho. Director Ho, you look familiar. Li Fan looked at the woman in her 30s in front of him and could not help but frown. Really? Everyone says that I have a common face. The other party looked at Li Fan with a serious face and checked his information. You are an exchange student from the Shanghai Music Academy. Why didn't you finish your studies there and chose to come here? Li Fan rolled his eyes, thinking, why don't you know better than me? This was none other than the female director of the 9th Bureau of the State Security. He did not expect that she would also participate in the mission and personally come here to be the Academic Affairs Office. It seemed like it was also to make it easier for him to act. But she deliberately asked him this question to test his adaptability. I think it's better to do art in the imperial capital. Li Fan naturally replied, although the Shanghai Music Academy is good, I should be able to get better training here. Of course, our teachers here are very good. When this female director spoke, she was very proud as if she was really a member of the school. What a beautiful acting, impeccable. Choosing us is the best choice for you. I heard that you are best at piano. Have you participated in any competitions? Not yet. I want to wait until my skills are more proficient before participating in the competition. Li Fan's adaptability was very good. His answer was smooth and natural. There was no fault to be found. That's good. Because the ordinary dormitory is full, there is only one student dormitory for you to use. However, this student dormitory is generally for international students, so the cost is much more expensive than ordinary dormitory. Ah, I can work. I can pay for the expenses myself. Li Fan quickly agreed. Who wouldn't be willing to live in a better place? But he already understood that this was not a coincidence. It was because Liang Ru lived in the student dormitory. Arranging him there was just to make it convenient for him to protect her. The dormitory key is in the dormitory management office. This is your student ID. After completing the remaining procedures for Li Fan, the female director sent Li Fan away. Li Fan walked out of the Academic Affairs Office and headed to his apartment. Because the school was too big, he had to turn on the navigation on his phone to find the location of the Imperial Capital University's student dormitory. Oh my God! Why is this school so big? It's almost the size of a small town. Li Fan looked at the map on his phone and could not help but sigh. No matter what, it was the #1 academy. It was truly astonishing. But now that there was a GPS, it was really quite convenient. With his speed, he quickly found the apartment. The student dormitory had a total of 12 floors, and each room should have its own entrance. The windows were all connected to a very spacious balcony. Many of the balconies were hung with clothes, and many of them were even hung with bras and panties. This made Li Fan blush. Good heavens, after living in this place for a long time, don't tell me you've lost nutrients quickly. Li Fan laughed dryly, then put away his random thoughts and walked into the apartment building. The manager of the apartment building was an auntie in her 40s. She was knitting a sweater while sitting in front of the TV watching a health program. Young man, wait a minute. I've never seen you before. The auntie was still very responsible. When she saw Li Fan, she immediately stopped him. Hello, Auntie. I'm a new student. New student. Haven't all the new students checked in? Don't try to fool me. Be careful of your credits. The auntie was really ruthless in order to prevent idlers from entering. I won't. This is my student ID. Please take a look. Li Fan was very sweet. He took out his student ID and placed it in front of the auntie. The auntie put on her presbyopic glasses and took a look. Then, she carefully looked at Li Fan's appearance. Li Yun. Yes. It's really you. Here, this is your key. You live in room 1203. The auntie reminded Li Fan, remember, in the apartment, you are not allowed to use electrical appliances that are too powerful, pets are not allowed, and you are not allowed to spend the night with the opposite sex. If anyone comes looking for you, they must register with me. The apartment closes at 11 at night. You are not allowed to enter after that time. Do you remember? Yes, yes, yes. I remember. Auntie, you are really very responsible. Li Fan was very clear. If he wanted to live in school, he must have a good relationship with the auntie. Auntie, these are some local specialties that I brought from my hometown. Try it. Li Fan took out some local Shanghai snacks from his bag and handed them to the auntie. "Oh, you're quite courteous, little fellow. Okay. I will accept the food. Hurry up and settle in. If you need anything, remember to look for me." "Thank you, auntie. I will definitely not give you any trouble." Okay. Hurry up. Oh right, the hot water will be provided until 10 at night. Use your card. Remember to top up your one-card at the student service station. Thank you, auntie. I got it. Li Fan successfully won over the auntie. Then, he took his apartment key and walked into the elevator. There was only one elevator in the apartment. Li Fan felt that it was a little too little. When he entered the elevator, he realized that the elevator could only go up to the 6th floor and above. It seemed that he could only walk up from the 6th floor. What a deceptive setting. Who designed the elevator back then? Li Fan was puzzled. He pressed the button for the 12th floor and waited for the elevator door to close slowly. At this moment, a familiar voice came from outside. Wait a minute. Don't close the door. Li Fan vaguely felt that the voice was familiar. Isn't this Liang Ru? Damn, why did I meet her here? The two of them had just quarreled. It was better not to meet her. It was too awkward to be in the same elevator. Li Fan quickly pressed the button to close the door. He wished that the elevator would not close and go up. Seeing that the elevator door was about to close, Li Fan was relieved. As long as he went up and entered the room quickly, everything would be okay. Everything would be fine. But who would have thought that a small foot wearing a canvas shoe would suddenly stretch in and get stuck in the middle of the elevator door? Damn, Li Fan couldn't help but curse. This woman was too stubborn, wasn't she? The elevator door sensed the obstacle and slowly opened, revealing a beautiful girl full of youthful energy. It's you. Liang Ru saw Li Fan and was furious. She wrinkled her nose. You bastard. Why did you close the door? The elevator door closed by itself. It has nothing to do with me. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders, indicating that he was innocent. Damn it. You're not a gentleman at all. Liang Ru glared at Li Fan. She suddenly understood something. When the elevator door closed, she suddenly pressed down on Li Fan's neck with both hands. Then, she lifted one of her legs and put her knee on Li Fan's crotch. Say it. Why are you following me? Chapter 1504. Liang Ru was too close. Although the little girl was fierce, the fragrance on her body still floated into Li Fan's nose. Speak, why are you following me? Exposed. Li Fan immediately thought of this question, but there was no silence in the earpiece. He was afraid that Liang Ru would hear him if he spoke at such a close distance. Li Fan was a little nervous. He felt a cold sweat appear on his forehead, but he immediately used his internal force to suppress it. He was the little overlord of the underworld. He couldn't even handle this kind of situation. Oh, looking at Liang Ru at such a close distance, she was really pretty. Speak. Liang Ru seemed to have practiced some karate or something. She was quite strong as she threatened Li Fan fiercely. Your eyelashes are quite nice. Of course. Bah, who asked you about this? Liang Ru's cheeks were a little red. She pressed down on Li Fan's neck a little harder. Cough cough. Are you going to kill me? Li Fan asked. If you do anything evil, I will. Well, I will make you wish you were dead. Liang Ru pretended to be very fierce. Speak. Don't change the topic. Who is following you? You are too arrogant. Li Fan rolled his eyes. I live on the 12th floor, okay? Bah. I know everyone on the 12th floor. When did you join? You were the one who followed me. Tell me the truth. Do you have paranoia? Li Fan asked, why would I follow you? Because you are a pervert. Liang Ru said without hesitation, I have seen a lot of perverts like you. That's enough. You keep calling me a pervert. Li Fan signaled with his eyes, look, between the two of us, who is more of a pervert? Of course it's you. You are the one who used force on me, okay? Bah. You are so shameless. Do you not understand words? Li Fan found it very funny. You should let me go now. The elevator is about to arrive. I have to go back to the dormitory early. I'm so scared by you that I have to sleep in to calm myself down. If you don't tell me why you followed me, I won't let you go. All right then, you can continue to push me like this. I won't resist. Li Fan decided to play the rogue. He closed his eyes and pretended to be dead. You. Seeing Li Fan's attitude, Liang Ru was infuriated. She wanted to ask a few more questions, but the elevator door opened at this time. You're not allowed to follow me, or you're dead. Liang Ru finally let go of Li Fan, but after giving him a warning, she turned around and walked inside. Li Fan sighed. In order to avoid trouble, he decided to wait for Liang Ru to return to her room. Thus, Li Fan simply took the elevator and waited for it to return to the first floor. After a while, he went back to the 12th floor. Unexpectedly, when the elevator door opened, a certain girl actually crossed her arms and stood there, looking at him with a smug face. It was as if the little miss had already guessed it. Ah. This was a bit awkward. I knew it. You are a perverted stalker. Liang Ru fiercely looked at Li Fan. Quickly say it. What is your purpose? My purpose is... Li Fan walked forward step by step. His eyes stared at Liang Ru as he slowly walked to her side. You, what are you doing? Liang Ru suddenly became nervous from Li Fan's stare. She subconsciously took 2 steps back. That is to quickly go back to sleep. You idiot. Li Fan took the opportunity when Liang Ru stepped back and quickly walked away from her side. You bastard. Where are you going? Liang Ru originally wanted to chase after him. Suddenly, she saw Li Fan take out a key and open the door to room 1203. Her entire face turned red. This little girl's face turned red all the way to her ears. She did not react for a long time. Goodbye, silly girl. Li Fan winked at Liang Ru. Before she could react, he immediately closed the door and entered his room. Damn it. This woman is really hard to deal with. After closing the door, Li Fan finally let out a sigh of relief. I am a dignified little tyrant. To actually be messed up by a woman. This is really embarrassing. If this were to spread out, Yan Kai and the rest would probably laugh their heads off. The room was very clean. 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom. The entrance was the kitchen. A single bed was placed by the window. In the room, there was a bookshelf, a wardrobe, and a computer table. There was nothing else. The decoration was relatively simple. It was suitable for students to stay in. However, a girl was in the room, laying the bed sheet for Li Fan. What the? Master, you are back. The pretty girl saw Li Fan coming in. She walked over happily and bowed to Li Fan. Chiu-er. Why are you here? Looking at Chiu-er, who was only wearing an apron and was almost naked, Li Fan was a little stunned. Then, he swallowed his saliva. Master, we are worried that you are not used to living here alone. Especially when we heard that the food in the cafeteria is terrible. Therefore, Chiu-er specially rushed over to serve Master. This is a mission. Aren't you causing trouble by coming over? Li Fan did not know whether to laugh or cry. Moreover, why are you dressed like this? That's true. Chiu-er did not expect Master to come back so quickly. Therefore, she is not dressed appropriately. How about this, Master, you go to the toilet first. I will have to trouble you to stay here for a while. Chiu-er will change her clothes and then call you out. All right. Li Fan let out a sigh of relief. Chiu-er's appearance was really tempting to commit a crime. He could not walk further and further down the road of crime. He had to stop in time. Li Fan entered the toilet and closed the door. This toilet should have been cleaned by Chiu-er. It was very clean. She even used a fragrance to make it a little warm. Done. A muffled shout came from outside. Li Fan opened the toilet door and saw a naked girl. She had tied herself up tightly with a rope. Even her mouth was stuffed with her underwear. She was lying on the bed and shouting at him. Li Fan quietly closed the toilet door. Master, Master. This time, I am really done changing. Come out. Li Fan did not open the door. Master, Chiu-er did not lie to you. If I lied to you, you can spank Chiu-er's butt, and you can do something fiercer. Li Fan wanted to sleep on the floor in the toilet. Master, sob, Chiu-er really changed. Hearing Chiu-er's sobbing voice, Li Fan then opened the door. He saw that Chiu-er had indeed changed into a loose t-shirt and a pair of ordinary black trousers. She looked at him with a wronged expression. That's more like it. Li Fan sat in front of the computer and took out his luggage. Master, you must be hungry. Chiu-er will cook for you. Chiu-er tried to curry favor with Hui Yuhao as she prepared to cook. She had even bought all the kitchen supplies. Chapter 1505. Although Chiu-er's personality was a little unreliable, her cooking skills were superb. I want to eat something light today, Chiu-er. Li Fan turned his head and realized that Chiu had changed into a maid's uniform. However, she wasn't wearing anything on her lower body. The little lass was stirring the soup as she muttered to herself. Master, will you lift up my short skirt later? I'm so scared. After all, I'm not wearing anything on my lower body, fuck you. Are you scared? Also, when did you change your clothes? You can turn a person into a living person in the time it takes to cook. Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This Chiao really made him speechless. Change my clothes back. No, please enjoy me to your heart's content, master. Chiao had already finished cooking. She was holding the soup and looking at Li Fan shyly. Master, please eat me while you eat. Change your clothes. Li Fan was angry, but Chiao was trembling with excitement. Okay, I'm so happy to be scolded by master. Chiao I don't think you're suitable to follow me. Let Chun take over. No, don't, master. Chiao was finally afraid. Chun-er's cooking isn't as good as mine. But she's more obedient than you. Chiao will be obedient too. Then, put on your pants first. Then, eat with me obediently. Yes, Chiao put on her pants obediently and placed the soup on the table. After she placed the bowl and chopsticks for Li Fan, she stood at the side, feeling wronged. Why are you standing there? Li Fan pointed at the table. Sit down and eat with me. Chiao doesn't dare. Chiao shook her head. Why wouldn't I dare? Do you think I'll eat you? Chiao isn't afraid of being eaten by master. Chiao is afraid of being despised by master. Chiao's aggrieved expression made Li Fan's heart ache. All right, be obedient. How can I despise you? Come sit down and eat with me. Chiao shook her head again. Li Fan glared at her. If you don't eat, I won't eat either. As he spoke, he even placed the bowl and chopsticks on the table. Chiao quickly admitted defeat. Master, don't be angry. You must be exhausted after running for a day. Chiao listen to me. Chiao will eat with master. Li Fan was very satisfied. Little girl, do you think I can't deal with you? Just as Chiao was about to take the bowl and chopsticks, someone knocked on the door. Dong dong dong. The knocking sounds were like someone demanding a debt, and the door seemed like it was about to be smashed through. Open the door. Open the door, open the door. Li Fan had a headache. Why was this voice so familiar? Chiao hide for a while. Don't get discovered. Li Fan could only ask Chiao to hide for now. Oh. Chiao looked around and pointed at the bathroom. Shall I hide in there? All right, hurry up and go in. Li Fan could not care about anything else. He hurriedly asked Chiao to hide in the bathroom. Chiao closed the bathroom door. Li Fan stood up and walked to the door. He pretended not to know and asked loudly. Who is it? A debt collector. Open the door. It was Liang Ru's voice outside the door. Li Fan was very impatient. I say, why are you always running to the male dormitory in broad daylight? I am not familiar with you. What will it look like if you enter my dormitory? If word gets out, my innocence will be ruined by you. Ruined your head. Liang Ru was so angry that she almost laughed. I say, are you still a man? I, a young lady, did not say anything and you are the first to complain. Let me ask you, are you going to open the door? No. Li Fan replied without hesitation. He could not be bothered with this girl. She could not even stop to eat. All right, you are not going to open the door. Liang Ru seemed to have made up her mind. Then, Li Fan heard the door make a loud sound. Then, the door frame shook and the dust on it fell. Fuck, don't kick the door. You are crazy. Li Fan did not know what to say. He wanted to cry but had no tears. Liang Ru then kicked the door a second time. Li Fan was really worried that the door would be kicked open by this tough lady. Alright, sis, I give up. I give up, can't I? Stop kicking. I will open the door now. Li Fan admitted defeat. Liang Ru, who was outside the door, seemed to be a little more satisfied. That's more like it. Hurry up and open the door. Li Fan opened the door and looked at the smug Liang Ru. He said helplessly, "You are really a little ancestor. I almost called the police just now." Call the police. What police? Liang Ru walked in confidently and looked around Li Fan's room. Call the police and say that I molested you. Would they believe that? It's good enough that they didn't arrest you. Why arrest me? I am the victim. Li Fan felt wronged. Look at your wretched look. You don't look like a victim at all. I'm wretched. Are you kidding me? How am I wretched? Li Fan wanted to cry but had no tears. This lass was full of nonsense. Liang Ru entered Li Fan's room. When she saw the meat soup on Li Fan's table, her eyes suddenly lit up. She could not help but sniff. You made it. Li Fan did not know how to explain. He could only answer casually, otherwise, you made it. Are you a Shanghai man? You know how to cook. As Liang Ru spoke, she did not stand on ceremony. She picked up Li Fan's bowl and chopsticks, sat down, and scooped a bowl of soup for herself. Hey! Didn't you eat? Nonsense. Of course I didn't eat. Do you want me to order takeout for you? No need. Isn't it ready-made? This soup is so fresh. So delicious. Liang Ru could not help but praise. She turned around and saw Li Fan standing to the side. She could not help but ask, "What are you standing for? Sit down and eat with us." Fuck. Is this my home or yours? What do you mean by home? Isn't it just a temporary apartment? Hey. In any case, I'm the host. Why do you seem to be the host? What are you talking about? Liang Ru continued to drink the soup. It's your honor that I can eat with you. There are so many people out there who want to eat with this lady, but this lady has refused them all. Let's not talk about the distant ones. Let's talk about that Luo Nan. He asks me every day if I want to eat abalone, lobster, bird's nest. The face of a nouveau riche really pisses me off. You speak as if you're diligent and thrifty. Leave some for me. Li Fan could not hold it in any longer. He stepped forward and snatched the spoon, scooping 2 bowls of soup for himself. Why are you scooping 2 bowls? Liang Ru was extremely dissatisfied. Can't I eat a lot? Li Fan rolled his eyes. He placed the 2 bowls of soup in front of him, protecting them. Don't tell me you're hiding a mistress in your golden house. Liang Ru casually joked, making Li Fan unprecedentedly nervous. Fuck me. Is this Liang Ru the reincarnation of a clairvoyant? How can every word she says be so mysterious? Chapter 1506. Could it be that she's hiding in the bathroom? Liang Ru pointed at the bathroom. Li Fan felt the veins on his forehead throbbing. This woman had definitely read fortunes for people in the old days. Look at your nervous appearance. If I hadn't seen you walk in with my own eyes, would have thought that you were hiding a woman in your room. Liang Ru's appearance when eating was also very spirited. Li Fan couldn't help but take a few more glances. It was unknown who said that people would look a bit ugly when eating. But why was Liang Ru's table manners so beautiful? He couldn't find a single fault. Plus, her happy appearance seemed to add a bit of temptation to the delicacies. Liang Ru's words made Li Fan let out a sigh of relief. But she didn't seem to be here to eat. It seemed more like she was here to investigate him. You're so mysterious. What are you doing here? Liang Ru asked again. I've never seen you at school before. Tell me the truth. Who sent you to get close to me? My dad. Or my mom. Or that brainless child Luonan. After interacting with Liang Ru a few times, Li Fan could already tell that this girl was definitely very smart and very vigilant. But even so, her intelligence was limited. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been tricked by someone with a bicycle. But his identity absolutely couldn't be exposed. He absolutely couldn't. In a short moment, over 10,000 thoughts spun through Li Fan's mind. In the end, he made up his mind. He would cross the sea in deceit and play Tai Chi with Liang Ru to the end. Miss, I don't even know who you are right now. Yet you're the one investigating me. Li Fan seemed to be a bit emotional. He slammed the table in annoyance. Let me ask you. How many times have we met? Have you not been the one looking for me? Are you kidding me? I'm not that free. Why would I look for you? Do you think you're in high demand? Liang Ru denied flatly. She felt that Li Fan was overthinking things. Okay. Let's settle the score. Did you ride your bicycle like a mad dog today by the lake? Did you nearly hit me? Then you pestered me to fix your bicycle. Are you kidding me? You scared me enough that I didn't ask you for compensation for my mental damage. Look, there's a barb on my finger. It must have been scratched by your bicycle. I want to go to the hospital for an appraisal. You hurt me. Bah. You even ran into a porcelain accident. It's not my fault that the brakes broke. So it's my fault. Who did I offend? Li Fan's eyes widened. Let's talk about what happened in the elevator. I just came to report and went upstairs, but you rushed over and started questioning me. If you ask me, who should I ask? I'm also very desperate, okay? It wasn't easy for me to transfer to Imperial Capital University, so I'm full of expectations for this place. I hope to have a romantic encounter here. And the result? The result? I didn't expect to meet such a problematic student as soon as I arrived. Who's a problem student? Liang Ru was bombarded with questions by Li Fan and was a little at a loss for words. I'm just taking precautions, okay? You said that you're an exchange student. Where did you exchange from? Liang Ru didn't care how aggrieved Li Fan was and continued to ask. Shanghai Music University. Li Fan said proudly, I got in with high scores. Music University. You're studying music? Yes. Li Fan nodded. Why? What's so strange about that? Men can't study music. Don't you know that the music masters in history were all men? That's the result of the past preference for men over women. Liang Ru emphasized, if society were to be flipped, the ones who did great things throughout the ages would be women. I'm not going to argue with you about this. I'll only quarrel. Li Fan felt that some of Liang Ru's views were already deeply rooted. It was better not to tangle with her on these issues. Anyway, he was just acting. There was no need to be serious. Since you're from a music academy, what did you study? Liang Ru continued to investigate Li Fan. Why do you look like you're interrogating a criminal? Li Fan was a little unhappy. You came to my dormitory to question me. Do you think you're a police officer? Are you feeling guilty and don't dare to say it? Liang Ru continued to ask. Why would I feel guilty? I study piano. You? Piano. Liang Ru looked at Li Fan. She couldn't believe that he was a piano student. Why? Li Fan was puzzled. I don't look like it. Make it up. Keep making it up. Liang Ru really couldn't believe it. People who studied piano all had a certain aura. She felt that this boy in front of her didn't have such an aura. Anyway, you don't look like it. You're insulting me. Li Fan decided to take the initiative. There isn't a piano here. If there was, I would definitely play it for you. I'll let you know what a true master is. You don't have one, but I do. Liang Ru pointed to the side. It's in my room. Come over. Ha! Li Fan widened his eyes. What the heck? There's a piano in Liang Ru's room. And when Liang Ru entered the room, Li Fan switched on his communicator. Through the buttons on her clothes, she heard the conversation between Liang Ru and Li Fan. And Jing felt a little nervous. This Liang Ru was taking it too seriously. Furthermore, why did she have a piano in her room? Didn't she practice the violin? Why? You don't dare. Who doesn't dare? Wait until I finish this mouthful of soup. Li Fan finished the soup in his bowl before following Liang Ru out of the apartment and into her room. Before leaving, Li Fan instructed Chiao to drink the soup with a voice transmission. The little lass had been busy the entire day. He couldn't let Liang Ru benefit and let his Chiao starve. Although I don't know how good you are at playing the piano, your cooking is indeed good. It was unknown if Liang Ru was praising Li Fan or mocking him. Li Fan didn't mind. He had been learning from Christina for the past few days, so it shouldn't be a problem. How good could Liang Ru be? No matter how good she was, could she be more professional than Christina? After entering Liang Ru's room, Li Fan felt a strong artistic aura. This young lady's house was filled with art. The walls were hung with Western paintings that he couldn't understand. And her favorite was naturally this musical instrument. In this room, Li Fan discovered no less than 6 musical instruments. It was almost the same as when he was choosing musical instruments at the National Security Bureau. And in the middle of the room, there was indeed a white grand piano. It looked expensive, and it probably took a lot of effort to carry it in. You also learn the piano. That's not right. Why are there so many musical instruments in your room? Li Fan began feigning ignorance again. Why do you care? Play the piano. Liang Ru urged. Li Fan pulled out a piano stool and sat in front of the piano. Liang Ru was smug as she crossed her arms and leaned against the wall, as though waiting for Li Fan to make a fool of himself. Chapter 1507. Li Fan opened the piano and placed his hands on the black and white keys. A whisper of autumn quickly flowed between Li Fan's fingers. Liang Ru was waiting for him to make a fool of himself, but after listening for a while, she was stunned. This piano piece was moving and the melody was pleasing to the ear. It was obviously at the level of someone who had been immersed in the piano for several years. Although it was not at the level of a master, it was not far from it. How is it? After Li Fan successfully finished playing, and Jing heard it from the communication device and heaved a sigh of relief. Li Fan sat up straight and turned to look at Liang Ru and asked. Not good. Unexpectedly, Liang Ru rolled her eyes and gave such an evaluation. What? Li Fan was very unwilling. This zither skill of mine was personally taught by a famous pianist. Why can't it work? The song you played is not bad. The rhythm is smooth and it's methodical. Liang Ru first praised him, then began to bombard him, but No feelings. No feelings at all. You're only imitating the feeling of the song itself, but you don't have any feelings of your own. Not good. Not good. You're like a metronome. You have the rhythm, but it's not good. Li Fan broke out in cold sweat. Liang Ru was too amazing, right? Her analysis was quite right, and she was not nitpicking. Even if he could imitate the piano, he could not imitate the piano's meaning. However, you're still good at it. I guess your family forced you to learn the piano. Liang Ru began to think that she was smart. Hey, you saw through that. Who am I? Liang Ru was very proud. Liang Ru, second-year violin. Oh, my name is Li Yun, second-year piano. The two of them first reported their names. Your foundation is not bad, but it's a pity that you're too rigid. Liang Ru seemed to have lost interest in Li Fan. All right, I'm full and sleepy. Go back, don't disturb me. Fuck, you're the one disturbing me. How did I become the one disturbing you? Li Fan was too lazy to argue with this girl. He still had a lot of things to do, so he couldn't wait to go back. Li Fan successfully returned to his room. After giving Enjing a few instructions, he switched off the communicator and lay in bed. Chiao had already eaten lunch and cleaned up the bowls and chopsticks. She sat by the bed and helped Li Fan massage his legs and shoulders. Although this girl's massage skills were not as good as Chun Er's, they were not inferior by much. Li Fan lay there, enjoying himself. Master, eat some grapes. Chiao Er's small movement caused Li Fan to open his mouth subconsciously. He thought of something and immediately asked, wait, which grape? Master is so annoying. Of course it's the ordinary longan grapes. Chiao said shyly, Master, if you want to eat my grapes, that's fine too, go, I was afraid that you would do that. Longan is fine, I'll eat longan grapes. Li Fan quickly emphasized. That's a pity. The other type of grape is actually quite delicious. Stop. Can't you speak properly? Master is scolding Chiao again. I'm so happy. So happy. Li Fan was convinced. Why did Chiao have such a problem? However, this problem probably couldn't be cured. Master, tell me, what kind of ability does that Liang Ru have to torment my master like this? Chiao doesn't feel good when she sees this. This is a mission. If I don't do it, no one will. Li Fan was open-minded, and in this university, I'm doing pretty well. Look, you're even massaging my legs and feeding me grapes. How beautiful. I just feel sorry for Master. If Chun and the others knew, they would definitely blame me for not taking care of you. Isn't it just Liang Ru? What's so difficult about protecting her for 3 months? Then what would you do if it was you? If it was Chiao let Chiao take action, tie her up, bring her to the Leaf Family Island, and lock her up for 3 months. Wouldn't everything be fine? Your method is feasible, but it's too forceful. Li Fan laughed. Chiao tell me, if I lock Liang Ru up, what do you think outsiders would think? Naturally, they would think that our 7 heroes villa is domineering and that our young Master Li is unparalleled. That's a good idea, but have you considered that if I lock Liang Ru up, what would those people who are secretly preparing to make a move on her think? They would definitely think that our Huaxia is afraid of them. Do you understand? Oh, Chiao seriously thought about it. That's why we need to put Liang Ru on the table in an open and above-board manner. Whoever dares to touch Liang Ru, I'll slap their face first. Master is right, Chiao is wrong. Chiao blinked her eyes. Master, please whip Chiao Will go prepare a whip for you. You, focus on massaging your legs. Li Fan was annoyed. How could any topic change to this? Just as Li Fan was about to help fix her problem, the melodious sound of a violin suddenly came from next door. To be precise, it didn't come from next door, but from the balcony. That Liang Rook should be playing the violin on the balcony. Li Fan heard it clearly and couldn't help but perk up his ears. Li Fan couldn't help but think of Ching Mo-hun when he heard the violin. Although he hadn't seen the Brocade Guard's soul burial song for a long time. This girl's music was very powerful, and Li Fan had a deep impression of her. If he had her ability, this small music battle wouldn't be difficult for him. That girl seemed to be playing a serenade. However, it sounded like she was admiring herself and was lonely. This woman is too confident. Li Fan heard the feelings in her music and couldn't help but laugh dryly. However, playing music on the balcony wasn't dangerous. However, he was here. No matter what threat there was, he could solve it for her. It was also very peaceful in broad daylight. Those Jianghu bandits probably wouldn't dare to do anything. Liang Ru's song was a form of self-appreciation and also a demonstration to Li Fan. He didn't care. He didn't specialize in music. There were still many other things to do. After resting for a while, Li Fan sat cross-legged on the bed and began to close his eyes to regulate his breathing, letting his inner strength silently circulate in his body. The Tai Chi symbol slowly rotated, causing Li Fan's inner strength to increase bit by bit. Li Fan felt this kind of strength and finally felt a little better. The threat of the Outlanders was imminent. He also had to continue to cultivate so that his strength could increase to the level where he could fight against the Outlanders as soon as possible. The last time he used the White Tiger to repel Jiang Feng, it gave Li Fan a reminder. Sometimes, he couldn't be too extreme. This would cause him to have inner demons. There were some enemies that had to be dealt with in order to deal with. The White Tiger was a very good support. When dealing with the Outlanders, it should be of some use. Chapter 1508. Li Fan cupped his hands together, and white smoke drifted out of his head. This was a sign that his inner power was surging. Under Li Fan's control, a ferocious white tiger slowly surfaced from Li Fan's right shoulder. After this, it flew into the air and hovered in front of Li Fan. After this, it circled around him like a guard. Huff, Li Fan slowly exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. If he wanted to use this white tiger to assist him, he would need at least half of his inner power. Furthermore, he wouldn't be able to maintain it for long. It would be impressive if he could maintain it for an hour. Master, you haven't used our previous master's strength properly. Qiao understood this better. She moved closer to Li Fan and whispered in his ear, Master, if you use this strength as a bow and arrow, it would be a waste. Our previous master was so powerful. He could even make a set of armor, let alone a bow and arrow. Oh. Li Fan suddenly recalled that Qiao had been serving the White Tiger all this while. She definitely understood the White Tiger better than he did. After you wear this armor, your fighting strength will be doubled temporarily, Qiao said. Back then, the 4 holy beasts could all turn into armor. If the 4 holy beasts combine, it will be 10 times stronger. Ah, it's that strong. Li Fan was a little shocked when he heard this. 10 times stronger. If he were to use this armor at the last minute, he would be able to fight against the Grandmasters, right? Although he was also increasing his inner power, martial arts was a gradual process. He couldn't increase his inner power in a short period of time. Although it was an evil path to walk down the path of the holy armor, he had no choice but to do so. Sister White Tiger, you're living in my body now. I'll use your abilities too. We've come to a deal. Isn't that fair? As Li Fan spoke, he once again held his hands in a circle and sacrificed the white tiger. This time, the white tiger continued to circle around Li Fan. It was being nourished by Li Fan's strength. Li Fan's vital qi was like fuel that was continuously being transferred to the white tiger's soul body. Master, use your imagination and imagine the white tiger as a suit of armor. The white tiger can turn into armor. As long as Master can think of it, it can be done. Alright, I'll give it a try. Li Fan maintained his imagination and thought about what the white tiger armor should look like. Li Fan had read many Japanese mangas and Chinese web novels in the past, so his imagination was quite good. He slowly conceived in his mind. Soon, the white tiger in front of him suddenly leaped up and flipped in the air. In the blink of an eye, it transformed into a set of white armor and quietly floated in front of Li Fan. The posture of this armor was very mighty, and it even had a trace of disdain for the world. The armor was like a white tiger lying on the ground. When he stood up, he was like a god of war. However, this armor was slightly different from what Li Fan had imagined. This should be the original form of the white tiger armor. What a cool armor. Come, bring me the armor. Li Fan was in high spirits as he instructed Qiu. Yes, Master. Qiu knew that Li Fan was in high spirits, so she came over eagerly and brought the armor to Li Fan. Then, she helped him put on the armor one by one. Master, you look really handsome in this armor. Qiu couldn't help but praise Li Fan. He looked handsome and suave in this armor. He even had the majesty of an ancient general. My strength has indeed increased. Li Fan sensed the strength in his body. This could become his trump card. However, unless it was absolutely necessary, Li Fan wouldn't use it. Once he became dependent on external forces, it would be difficult for his strength to improve. Master, not bad, right? Qiu looked at Li Fan proudly. She seemed very happy to be able to use her old master's strength to help Li Fan. Yes, but you have to remind me to use this armor as little as possible. Li Fan instructed. Why? This is such a good armor, and it can make Master stronger. Why not use it? Qiu didn't understand. These are external objects after all. I can't rely on them for a long time. Otherwise, they are like drugs. The more I use them, the more I don't want to let them go. Li Fan raised his fist. Only when one's strength is strong will it be the hard truth, right? But the white tiger armor won't leave Master. It is also a part of Master's strength. Why not use it? Li Fan explained. Miss White Tiger is just temporarily residing in my body. When everything is settled, I will think of a way to revive Miss White Tiger. Master, you really want to revive old Master? Qiu was a little hesitant. Why? You don't want to? No. We are indebted to old Master for raising us. Of course, we hope that old Master can come back to life. Qiu waved her hands in fright. Qiu just can't bear to part with you, Master, don't worry. When Miss White Tiger returns, I will ask her to bring the four of you over. You have followed me for a period of time. Why do you have feelings for me? Yes, thank you, Master. Qiu finally seemed to be a little happy. Don't stand on ceremony. I can't bear to let you go. I have worked so hard to revive Miss White Tiger. I have to repay you, right? Qiu suddenly cried. Why are you crying? Li Fan was a little stunned. Everything is fine, Qiu. I am just a little touched. This is not good. Master, why don't you whip Chio, Let Chio, go to heaven. I think you want to go to heaven. Li Fan rolled his eyes. This girl, just for a while, she's not being serious again. Just as Li Fan was about to teach this child a lesson, someone knocked on the door. Who is it again? Li Fan said, holy shit, could it be that crazy lass next door is here again? Li Yun. Your package has arrived. A delivery man. Li Fan was a little puzzled. Had he ever bought anything? He became vigilant, but Enjing sent him a message through her phone. The gift has been delivered. Please accept it. So it's from Enjing and the rest. What could it be? Li Fan got Chio, to hide first before he opened the door to retrieve the package. It was a huge package. He opened it and realized that it was a Yamaha electronic keyboard. It just so happened that Li Fan still had an empty computer desk. He could use it to place the electronic keyboard. And Jing and the rest actually thought of this. How thoughtful. This electronic keyboard was an extended model, and the buttons were exquisite. It felt very similar to a piano, which was very rare. Placing it here was probably to make it easier for him to practice. Li Fan sat in front of the keyboard and suddenly began to think about something. The music was easy to play, but how should he find the musical feeling? You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.